the fund. You bet all your chips on the long service spree, but the fans only asked for Bloodborne on PC. You whisper to Aloy, you'll lead us to gold, but all that we got was the same game result. Like your service dreams, oh they burned in the night, like a Discord server in a fanboy fight. Spin, spin, Herman, dance through the fire. You sold us the dream, now you're stuck in the mire. Light service graveyards, abandoned and cold, like a PS portal nobody holds. Towers of gas stations climbing so high, but no one can see through the cash grab disguise. Fair games, oh fair, what a terrible name. Stealing from the rich, Sony's playing that game. You said lip service is future, just give me some time. But now you're demoted, oh what a decline. Naughty Dog stranded, the last of us cursed. The only thing alive is your PR rehearsed. Spin, spin, Herman, your fate is unkind. Jorian has left you, now watch Sony blind. Your horizon obsession, your service collapse. Your legacy's buried in overpriced scraps. A decade you reigned, but the players withdrew. Aloy can't save you, she's also confused. The fans wanted Kratos, they wanted a thrill, but you chased dollar signs and swallowed the pill. Spin, spin, Herman, your tango is done. They stripped you of power, they fired the gun. The studios are tired, the players all fled. Your legacy lives, but only in red. Spin, spin, Herman, your tango is done. They stripped you of power, they fired the gun. The studios are tired, the players all fled. The legacy lives, but only in red.
Now everybody please prepare yourself for a brief song that I think perfectly encapsulates how we all feel. It was made by a robot because that is all Herman deserves. But I did write the lyrics. Please enjoy. Or don't. I don't really care.
Herman, oh, Herman, you're a goddamn fool, Herman, claymation looking ass, firing top brass, bottom of your class, oh Herman, stupid, stupid Herman, no clue what you're doing, oh Herman, somehow you have a job, working like a slob, no one likes you, Herman, you suck. Herman loves Horizon, even though it's mid. Now he runs PlayStation like a mark of skid. Herman, stupid, stupid Herman, no clue what you're doing, oh Herman, somehow you have a job, working like a slob, no one likes you, Herman, you suck. Herman smells like fish, probably eats children. I kinda think he's a lizard, a literal rock would be better. Herman, stupid, stupid Herman, no clue what you're doing, oh Herman, somehow you have a job, working like a slob, no one likes you, Herman, you suck. Herman, you suck.
Herman.
At Caleb's92 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey Luke, just played this Demon Souls remake and it's really good. It's been a few years since they released it, so I'm sure they've got another remake they've been cooking and will be out soon, right?
I know that's said in jest, but there are people that think that and are going to be like shocked when they look up in a year that the studio was shut down. Thank you for the 10. That's very generous. Man, it's just, I've spent the last like 24 hours trying to figure out this, and I think there is an explanation, but it's just, I mean, it's exactly what you think, and it's just very stupid. So we'll talk about it. We got to do the full deep dive. If you missed my little reaction thing yesterday, I went with Romeo to the dog park when the news broke, and so I filmed a little impressions, reaction, whatever. But I've had some time to ruminate, and we're going to run through it, okay? We also got a couple of tidbits from an interview that Yves Guillemot, another lizard person, did with Variety. And there's actually a lot of little tidbits in here. There's also some new reporting from Insider Gaming suggesting that the timelines for all of the Assassin's Creed stuff have shifted, and they've got some specifics on what that is. Specifically, it looks like Hexe probably is coming out in 2027. The Black Flag remake is still coming this year, but it looks like it'll probably be around July, something like that. So we'll get to it. We'll talk about all of it, okay? We'll get through it. Real quick heads up, I do have a package coming, and I have to sign for it. So randomly, I might be like,
At
oh,
Blake
be right
Rogers
back.
9600 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
I like the mainline Horizon games, but with the major push of these awful spin-offs being shoved down our throat and Bluepoint closure, I don't feel like wanting to support Horizon out of spite of Hulk.
I don't think you're alone in that sentiment. That is something I think a lot of people have expressed. And, you know, the games industry is different from a lot of others in the sense that gamers are passionate. They can also be maybe vindictive. They can also be very coordinated when they want to not support something or when they want to specifically support something. And I think that it's just a huge blunder in so many ways. But one of the clearest is that it once again is a super visible example of the priority shift. In the PS4 era, you think Sean Layden would have laid off a team whose last game got like a 92 on Metacritic and like could remaster some of these things impeccably? Like, no, they would have been rewarded for that success. They wouldn't have been punished for it. And I think that this just once again shows that Herman wanted them to do a God of War live service game. They struggled, failed at that for whatever reason. And so they're being punished for it, and they're being, everybody's losing their jobs, and it's just done. It's just, it's stupid. I wish it weren't, said and done. I wish it was like, we're going to shop around the studio to other groups and companies and see if we can find a new home for the studio. We just can't afford to keep it running. Then I'd be like, okay, shop it around, sell it to somebody. I'd respect that. But instead they're like, no, we're just going to fire everybody. Everybody's screwed. You're welcome. Like, it's crazy. It's just stupid Herman. Stupid Herman. So Corpo rats. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to call them. I think that there's the guys that ran the PS4 gen were also corpos. But clearly, it was a different time, a different generation of leadership. And, for a long time, we were thinking that it was Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst at the top of PlayStation. And it was probably more Jim Ryan pushing the live service train than it was Herman. I'm starting to think that that they were much more in tune than we had hoped. It seems like, some people are suggesting maybe it's just that Herman is a yes man. So when the executives in Japan say, hey, we need more Fortnite money, he says, okay, I'll find a way to do it. And he just doesn't care. He's just doing what he's being directed to do. But I think a good leader would be able to tell them these are mistakes. Like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. And I would have cut my losses elsewhere way farther in advance. Like, it's just, there's so many different layers to why this is stupid. It's baffling. It really is baffling. OMG, it's Elijah. Thank you for that resub. 9 months. Ooh, baby, over on Twitch. With Xbox getting more Microsoft-esque, PlayStation tripling down on live service future and not pivoting back, and PC hardware costing a small loan, hard to be optimistic for games, but I think the games this year might again be some of the best of all time. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Like, there's more incredible games than ever before, and they're incredible in ways we could have only dreamed about. Like, the idea of getting a Baldur's Gate 3 10 years ago was unfathomable. Like, just the level of depth and complexity there is remarkable in so many ways. Same, I'm sure we'll be saying the same thing for GTA 6 and the like. However, while that's true, there's also a never-ending supply of slop being pumped out and sacrificed at the altar of live service. And they're doing it, trying to force former single-player studios into doing it, which is what happened with Bluepoint. And then they blame gamers when gamers don't want it. And I think what needs to happen is a realization that, what they're doing with the live service push is kind of like one of those Chinese finger traps you played with when you were a toddler, where the harder you pull, the harder you try to make it happen, the more locked in it gets and the less something happens. And I think what they're doing is the more they double down and push on the live service, you're seeing a shift where it's not that gamers aren't even open to it. They're actively rooting against it in some cases.
Hot take. I think that fighting game developers respect their audience more than most other game developers. Thoughts?
I think it would have to depend on what you mean by respect. I guess I just don't know what you mean. Do you mean like in terms of how they monetize it, in terms of how they build the games? I guess I just don't really know what you mean in terms of respect. I think that there's plenty of examples of other games where the monetization, for example, is very disrespectful. But I think other examples, like if you remember the Switch port of Mortal Kombat, I remember that. Like that, I don't think that was very respectful to people on Switch. So I think there's good examples of bad examples every which way. It's just a matter of where you pick, but I guess I would just need more specifics before I could offer a firmer opinion. Blake, thank you for the 2. What's Layden doing now? Would love for them to bring him back. He left at the end of the PS4 gen, and what's pretty common is that you'll have leadership that starts a gen and finishes it, and then they leave at the end and they get fresh eyes to come in for the next generation. That's what happened with the PS4 going into the PS5. And so Sean left, and I think he's on some like advisory boards and stuff like that. But it's not like, he left to join Tencent's board or something. Like he's, I don't think retired, but he's definitely let his foot off the gas since then. And they could bring him back, but I think that what we're seeing is complicated. Like I want to just, I think we all do it. We point back to the PS4 era and we say things were great back then. Why can't they be like back then? Why can't they just do what they did in the PS4 era? And I think the point of a lot is my microphone glitching out for you, or is my headphones? Is it my headphones or mic?
At Luke Smith 9723 donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
In my ears, they went all robot sounding.
Good work. We need in shape gamers.
I don't know. The mic is good. Okay, it's the headphones. Okay, weird. Anyway, I think the temptation is just to point backwards and say, oh, well, we should just do what we did back in 2015, 2016. And the point of industry analysts that have been looking at this is that times have just changed. You can't do the same things that you used to do. You have to handle it differently nowadays. And that's where the complexity comes in. There's this take, which is Sean Layden's, which we'll circle back to, clipped from Kiwi Talks as well. And he puts it really well. I think these headphones are freaking out. I'm going to swap to the other headphones while I let this play. Yeah.
How many live service games can be successful at any one moment?
Yeah, well, it's
The
only a
answer
certain
obviously
amount of
is not
people.
20. Yeah, there's a certain amount of people, and coming up with the next great live service game, you have to not only have a great game, you have to compel people to take their time away from where they are to come over and invest time in where you are. There's a switching cost. I don't think a lot of people play 4 or 5 live service games at the same time.
No.
You're like all into 1 or 2, and that's it. And so for you to come out with a
Already, he has said things that are more profound and intelligent than anything I've ever heard from Hermen Hulst. Okay? Just the basic idea and the acknowledgement that you cannot have 20 live service games that are billion-dollar franchises because there's just not enough people on the planet. Just that acknowledgement would fundamentally shift how Hermen and all of these guys run these companies. And it's something Sean Layden is aware of, but it's an inconvenient truth. It's not something executives want to hear because they don't want to hear that it's kind of too late. If you want a Roblox, it's kind of too late. You should probably buy Roblox. Like, there's just once, if you miss the boat, you miss the boat. And that's kind of what's happened with some of these. I don't think there's going to be another Fortnite level game that pops up out of nowhere other than like a GTA 6, which is GTA 6. But just this acknowledgement is something that would fundamentally change all of this.
other one, you're trying to get people to come over here. Stop spending so much time doing that thing you love and come over here and try this thing you don't know. And that's a hard proposition. It's not just the selling of the game. It's convincing people that they should take away some of the time they're really enjoying doing this thing over there to come over to your unknown thing and invest their time there. It's not like a single player game or a narrative play game. It's like I can do my live service thing with you, but I'm gonna just play Elden Ring and just to see that whole experience and get the thing done and go yay, and then go back to where I'm having my daily hit of Fortnite or whatever it is. So I think a lot of people looked at that model and said that's really healthy. That's really it's high profitability. But the market can only absorb so much at any given time. And I think that's why there's several companies who have launched their live service games in the last 12 months who have pretty much pulled the plug on them before the year is out. If you just can't get traction at the start, it's very, very hard to prop that thing up.
Which is absolutely true. Again, shout out Kiwi Talks. Fantastic interviewer, has done a lot of work with not just Sean Layden, but also with like Bethesda Game Studios employees, all sorts of stuff. Definitely go check out his channel on YouTube, Kiwi Talks. But I think Sean hit the nail on the head. You cannot have 1,000 massive, successful live service games. It doesn't work. You probably can't even have 20. And as a result, you have to filter that out. Like, you got to really be cautious with what projects you greenlit and be realistic, even when it's uncomfortable, at what's going to be successful. And what's blowing my mind is that it's so evident that Sony, you know what? Let's kickstart the segment because I'm just going to keep rambling. There's no way I can keep beating around the bush. Okay. Let's just do it. Okay. Let's just get into it. Okay. News segment. Okay, we just have to finally talk about the stupidity of what went down yesterday. A statement was issued by Hermen Hulst after it was initially reported by Bloomberg that PlayStation is shutting down Bluepoint Games in March. What Hermen said was this: Hello, everyone. I wanted to share an important update from the studio business. As I mentioned in the December town hall, 2025 had some strong highlights within PlayStation Studios. Ghost of Yote launched to critical and commercial success. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach further showcased our commitment to narrative excellence. And Helldivers 2 and MLB The Show continued to drive ongoing player engagement and revenue. At the same time, we're operating in an increasing, this is what we call the justification paragraph, which is what precedes absolute stupidity. Okay. So at the same time, we're operating in an increasingly challenging industry environment. Rising development costs, slowed industry growth, changing player behavior, and broader economic headwinds. Hold on. Is that, oh, real quick. Sorry, I have to sign for a package. It just came here. I missed it yesterday and I got screwed. So let me go do that. Listen to Sean again. I'll be right back.
Yeah, well, it's
The answer obviously is not 20. Yeah, there's a amount of people, and coming up with the next great live service game, you have to not only have a great game, you have to compel people to take their time away from where they are to come over and invest time in where you are. There's a switching cost. I don't think a lot of people play 4 or 5 live service games at the same time.
No.
You're like all into 1 or 2, and that's it. And so for you to come out with another one, you're trying to get people to come over here. Stop spending so much time doing that thing you love and come over here and try this thing you don't know.
Okay, I'm back.
And that's a hard proposition. It's
Sorry.
not just the selling of the game. It's convincing people.
Sorry. I missed the package yesterday. And the poor delivery guy looked like 18 years old. He rings the doorbell. He starts talking. He's like, I'm just going to give it one more ring. And I wasn't home, and I was in a workout at Orange Theory, so I missed it. And I looked at the message afterwards, and he was like, yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get you your package. You know, they need me to get a signature for it. And I just try my best, and I feel really bad when I can't get you your package on the day that I first come here. So I'll try again tomorrow. I'm really sorry. And I was like, bro, it's not that big of it. It's okay. It was very sweet that he was like really, really concerned. But anyway, what's in the box? It's a new camera for taking and traveling with. It's basically, I had another camera. I had a second camera as a backup sort of thing, but it's now on the TikTok rig. See, so it can't really be used. So I had to get another one for bringing with me while traveling, because there may or may not be some trips that are fast approaching. Yeah, it's more candles. Oh, I have the shirt. I'll try to change into the shirt in a minute. Okay, I'll do that. Anyway, circling back to this. Focus. Sorry. Mute my phone now that I have signed for the package. Okay, there we go. So he continues. At the same time, we're operating in an increasingly challenging industry environment. Rising development costs, slowed industry growth, changing player behavior, and broader economic headwinds are making it harder to build games sustainably. It's about going green, guys. To navigate this reality, we need to continue adapting and evolving. We've taken a close look at our business to ensure we're delivering today while still well positioned for the future. Which all sounds great. I agree, you should be well positioned for the future. You should deliver great products and things that your players like. The very next sentence. As a result, we'll be closing Bluepoint Games in March. What? You want to be strong and resilient, and you want to be able to be well positioned and deliver great games. So you're shutting down like one of your best studios? What? This decision was not made lightly. Bluepoint is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community, but they're fired. I want to thank everyone at Bluepoint for their creativity, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. Where possible, we will work to find opportunities for some impacted employees within our global network of studios. Apparently, based on conversations, some people, I think Detective Seeds reached out to some people and that work at PlayStation, and job offers were not prearranged. They didn't do anything. This was not like planned layoffs or whatever. This is like, screw you guys, you're going home, literally. While I know this is hard news to hear, I'm confident in the direction we're headed. Literally no one else is. Sorry. Level-headed. I need to be a supportive journalist, don't I? sorry. Creativity, innovation, and building unforgettable experiences for players remain at the heart of PlayStation Studios. We have a robust roadmap for fiscal year 26 with much to look forward to in the months ahead. Thank you for your hard work and continued support. So this kind of took the internet by storm. Everyone was shell-shocked by this. I think this was the collective reaction. Everyone's just baffled. Like, what are you doing? What? Like, Bluepoint, just to, again, put it in perspective, Bluepoint are like masters of remakes, okay? Masters of it, and they launched like a PS5 launch title that got a 92 on Metacritic. Do you have any idea how hard it is to do like a reimagining thing and land with a 92? Oh, look who it is. Look who it is. What is this? Hold on, I didn't plan for this. What is this video? Look who it is.
Hey everyone, this is Herman Hulst, head of PlayStation Studios. As you probably know, we got a commitment to quality here at PlayStation.
Oh my God. Dude, you can't make this up. Like, we have a commitment to quality at PlayStation Studios, and this is why we are firing all of them.
And that is why I'm so proud to introduce a new member of the PlayStation Studios family.
For now. Dry up, you claymation looking ass lizard. Man, I can't even stand it. The fact that this guy's been put in charge is absolutely amazing. I hopped in Photoshop and I made this because this is what I was feeling. I felt like a boomer. I was like, there's got to be a faster way of making these memes, but with it, like, literally, he could have had them go and do something like this. But instead, he's doubling down on like the Horizon Live service, Horizon. I always forget what it's called. Hunter's Gathering. He's doing that. Like, again, Fair Game $. That team is still fully operational. It's still reportedly in active development. And this is after they had a play test allegedly. I think it was early last year or late 2024 or something, where the feedback was so negative, they literally fired like the co-founder of the studio. She left. The feedback was so rough, allegedly. It's not like they've openly talked about that, but like, this gets the thumbs up. This gets millions and millions and millions. The team that did Demon Souls remake, no. They are not part of the family anymore. Like, I know it always sounds weirdly Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that's just what happens when you try to sound like a lizard. I mean, it doesn't work. Your mouth doesn't move that way. Now, I've been trying to think why they would possibly be doing this, why they would be shutting down the team they could have assigned like a Bloodborne remake or a Killzone remake. And I think that there's a couple of different pieces to it. For one, we know that Bluepoint has said they wanted to do something original. They didn't want to just be the remake studio. And frankly, I get it. You know, remaking other people's stuff, I'm sure it's not the most creatively fulfilling thing ever. So I can understand that sentiment, but it's also a job. And if Herman told them, you're going to do the Bloodborne remaster, remake, whatever, they would do it because he's the boss. And if a studio founder or leader at Bluepoint was like, no, he'd be like, okay, you're fired. Put somebody else in who would kill to direct a Bloodborne remake. And they would do it. You know, he has that power. They could have done that. They literally could have done this. But instead, he's taking the money away from them, funding away from them, and giving it and greenlighting projects like this. Now, I'm going to be real. I do have a bias. Okay, I do. Shocker. I like the single player narrative stuff. I like single player open world adventure games. It's possible that playing a game where the protagonists all look like different versions of puff pastries could be fun. Maybe it is fun to play a game like that. I don't find that super compelling, and therefore I will not probably be a major player of those games. But that's just me. But I think what we've seen in the last few days is a collective rejection of this whole thing. And I think this is the big miscalculation that I think Xbox made when Phil Spencer announced they were shutting down Tango Gameworks. And I think it's the same thing that's happening here. On paper, I think there's a way to justify this closure where I'm sure sitting in a conference room and looking at spreadsheets, they decide, yeah, we're good. They're looking at Bluepoint and they say they have this many employees. They cost us this many millions of dollars a month. They haven't put out a game since 2020. We just canned their last attempt because bear in mind, Herman Hulst bought them with Jim Ryan. They acquired them and they put out the Demon's Souls remake, and then they forced them to work on a God of War live service game. That's been reported, I believe, by Jason Schreier, that they were working on a God of War live service game. Who thought that was a good idea? I don't know, but I would guarantee you it probably looked vaguely like Hunter's Gathering. I'm guessing probably something like that. And we'll talk about, I'll get to this in a minute, but I think it probably would have looked something like this, and it would have been a game where you don't play as Kratos, but maybe you play as like Atreus and what is it? Angerboda, I think. You play as like secondary characters and you go and fight maybe small, lesser known Nordic gods and stuff in a three-party team, and you do that. It would have been something like that. And so they worked on that for years, and then it was canned, I think in 2024, 2025, sometime in there. And they've been spending about a year working on pitches for new stuff. It's gone nowhere. And so I think in the conference room, they're looking at the spreadsheets. They're told from the CFO of Sony, she is hardcore. And she looked at it and said, you got to cut this much fat. You have to free up this much revenue. And so they looked at their documentation and they're like, fair game $. Yes, it has like a 0.1% chance of success, but they're close to launch. We can probably put it out within a year. Whereas Bluepoint, it's going to take another 4 to 5 years before we get anything out of them anyways. So let's just shut it down. And I think that really is the extent of it. I think it literally was just, we could give them like the runway, greenlight a project, but it's going to be 4 years before we see it at the earliest. And at that point, like, will it really be profitable? I don't think so. And so I think that that's what it is. There's also the potential that there's a number of things going on with the financing, which is always super fun to talk about. I know it's something everybody's so passionate about is it's discussing corporate finance funding and stuff. But they were where is it? Yeah, Sony Interactive Entertainment acquired Bluepoint September 30th of 2021, making it part of PlayStation Studios. They had previously leaked its intent to buy the studio in June of 2021. What stands out to me about that is a lot of financial terms and agreements, especially when it comes to financing with like dedicated interest rate hikes and refinance options, things like that, to re-leverage your purchase. A lot of those are built around square numbers, like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. The fact that we're almost at 5 years exactly from when they bought the studio makes me think maybe they had some financing complication where they're looking at it and they're like, if we hold them through the end of this year, we're going to have to refinance some segment or renegotiate the building or some element of the deal. And that made it less viable and less profitable. So they decided to just can it. No matter what the exact reason is, though, I think it's pretty clear this was a financial decision. This is a spreadsheet decision. And that's what's been echoed by some, like Jacob Navok, I think. He was previously in the president's office at Square Enix. He does a lot of analysis of the games industry. He said this: Sony execs pivoted to live service games because single player couldn't drive revenue. Look at the Spider-Man 2 costs and performance, and see the interview with Ball Matthew and Chris String from today. Don't get mad at Sony for doing the rational thing and placing bets on the more profitable potential output. If you know single player games are losers, you're better off attempting the live service route, even if 9 out of 10 don't make it. This is just rational business decision making. And what he references is this interview where it said, quote, single player narrative games are having a tough time meeting historical expectations. Ball notes, Tears of the Kingdom drastically underperformed relative to Breath of the Wild, despite the Switch being larger. God of War Ragnarok versus God of War, Spider-Man 2 versus Spider-Man 1. Quote, a successful hit here might sell 15 to 30 million units on the high end, and the game completion rates, the game complete trophies for The Last of Us Part 2 sit at 40 to 50% mark, so 40 to 50% of people will finish a 30-hour story. If you mash that up with other data, we see that the older you get, the more likely you are to have disengaged over time, which is to say, a man or a woman 45 plus days, 45 plus plays games less today than they did 5 years ago. And the broader discussion, again, it's a whole interview that Chris Dring did with Mr. Ball Matthew from Twitter. The whole interview basically is describing a lot of the stats that justify the live service push and the redirection there. But I think that this is, once again, just, it shows the I think fundamental miscalculations that are happening, in my humble opinion. Okay. I think it is true. A few of these aspects are definitely true. For example, I do think players are spending less time gaming on their PlayStations than they did on average 5 to 10 years ago. I think that's because PC has taken a lot of market share. There's other things like Netflix and TikTok and other things pulling for your attention. Instagram Reels. When you sit down on the couch at the end of a long day, you have more options at what to spend your time with. And that mortifies PlayStation and Xbox executives, because at the end of the day, they're not really competing for units sold. They're competing for time. That's what terrifies them about Roblox. Roblox, literally at this point, in terms of hours spent, like crushes it. It's not even close. It's absolutely insane. Did I have this bookmarked? Let me see. No, not there. Let's see. Roblox. It's absolutely insane, the stats that Roblox features. It's absolutely crazy. 39.6 billion hours engaged. Daily active users. They have 151 million daily active users. What? That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Let me see. There was a chart I saw specifically that like put this perfectly. Let me see if I can dig it up. Roblox revenue 2020 to 2025. Like Roblox really is the behemoth that nobody talks about, that mortifies them. Yeah, the hours engaged. In fact, I think the stat was that Roblox represents like 67% of all industry growth in the last year. Like 2/3 of the growth of the entire gaming industry was just Roblox. Everything else was compressed or didn't grow at all. Like actual insanity. Actual insanity. And I think what's happening is that these executives are looking at stats like that and they say, oh God, this doesn't work. We can spend the Spider-Man 2, for example, reportedly cost $300 million to make and didn't outperform, perform pretty much in line with Spider-Man 1. That doesn't work. That math doesn't work, which is true. It doesn't work to spend $300 million on a 12-hour game. It just doesn't.
Init Ranger donated $19.99 through Super Chat. If gamers are so against live service, then why are a good portion of the top games on each platform live service? I prefer single-player games, but it feels like this is a very vocal minority versus a
silent majority. So this is exactly the point, okay? And I'm glad that you brought this up to segue us into it. Thank you for the 20. So when you look at the data, you're looking at games like Roblox, at games like Fortnite, at the behemoths, right? That have millions upon millions upon millions of players. And when Hermen Hulst is figuring out which direction he wants to take PlayStation in, he's looking at that data and saying, yeah, people like this game or that game, but that only did 10 million copies, right? The biggest game of 2023, Hogwarts Legacy, sold like 35 million units, right? I just showed you Roblox does like 151 million users a day. Now, granted, they're not all paying $60 for the game up front, but they are spending money very actively. And that percentage that there's the number of people spending money and how much they're spending is growing every year. So he's looking at the data and being like, dude, even if we had the biggest game of the year every year, you know, that's what we call unicorn chasing in business. It's like you're chasing the one thing, the home run hit. You're swinging for the fences, and if you miss it, you're screwed.
Why were
But if you
they
get it,
allowed
you
to
could
just
do well.
work on pitches for a year? I have never been at a studio where we are not working on something that has been greenlit, mandated, even in the wake of a cancellation.
I think probably when it was said and reported that they were working on pitches for a year, I think what they probably mean is that they're doing that, and they were also doing some support stuff. For example, when Rocksteady released Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, most of the team was like done at that point. They had a couple people working, I'm sure, on like back end infrastructure stuff, but most of the team went over and started doing support work on the director's cut of Hogwarts Legacy that was later canceled. But like the studio was still doing stuff. They were doing like contract work basically. So I'm sure that they were doing stuff like that. But I think when they're trying to figure out if it's worth keeping the studio open just to do that, it probably didn't make sense. But anyway. I think that that's probably what they mean, is that they weren't just sitting around doing nothing but pitches. They probably were doing that and doing support work. That's just speculation on my part, though. So I think that, you know, the sentiment that Jacob is bringing up here is fair, which is that when you look at the data, the broad strokes data, you're looking at it and going, why are we doing all this when we could be trying to build our own Roblox, when we could be trying to build our own Fortnite. But I think this is the difficult reality. It goes back to what Sean Layden said, which is that there's the behemoths that are established, and every year it will grow harder and harder to rip players away from them. Because yes, there's big games like Fortnite. There's others that pop up and do well, not Fortnite levels of well, but well, like maybe a Marvel Rivals. But every year, it gets harder and harder to have a multiplayer live service hit, because the longer that a player is entrenched in a certain ecosystem, whether it's Fortnite or Roblox or Call of Duty or whatever, the harder it's going to be to strip them away from that, because every day that they play it, they're getting more hooked, they're spending more money, they're getting more entrenched, so that they end up with like a sunk cost fallacy where they don't want to leave because they've already put so much time and money into this one game, right? And I think that this sentiment is exactly the problem with this directional shift. And why it leads to so much wasted money.
How many live service games can be successful at any one moment?
Yeah, well,
The answer obviously is not 20. Yeah, there's a certain amount of people, and coming up with the next great live service game, you have to not only have a great game, you have to compel people to take their time away from where they are to come over and invest time in where you are.
Which is a lot easier said than done. It's why I said with like High Guard, the game can't just be good. It has to be so good that you stop playing everything else. But that's not fair. We tried really hard. We worked really hard, and we haven't been, our game hasn't been receiving updates and made billions like Call of Duty has or like Overwatch has. So it's unfair to expect us to come out with what Overwatch has. Cool. Yeah, it's unfair. Life's unfair. Suck it up, Pookie. Like, I don't know, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? One of the things my mom said probably every hour growing up was, life's not fair. What do you mean? Jacob got his cookie he got in his lunch is bigger than the cookie I got in my lunch. Okay, life's not fair. Cool. Like, once you learn that lesson in life, when you're 4, it should get easier to navigate it. Life's not fair. When you launch a game like a Marvel Rivals, you are competing against Overwatch, but established over years and years and years. I think Marvel Rivals lucked out because it launched at a time where Overwatch, the team was asleep at the wheel and had not really been trying for years. And so it was the perfect time for them to come in and show, look, this is how you do it. This is what like an engaged team can do. And it woke them the fudge up. And now you're seeing an Overwatch, I almost said Overwatch 2, but it's back to Overwatch 1. You're seeing a resurgence of that game because people are like, oh, they're trying again. This is awesome. But barring a pretty lucky go of it like that, like, just timing it perfectly, you're fighting a massively difficult uphill battle. And this is my frustration with Herman's direction. The data he's looking at justifies his decisions if the execution can be assumed, which I don't think it can be. At this point, I think 10 years ago, 9 would fail, 9 live service attempts would fail, and 1 would succeed, paying for all the failures. Now, I think it's more like 49 fail, 1 succeeds.
Core games are mad cause we want Bloodborns and Titanfalls, not High Guards gets shoved in our faces. Point 1 stone, it's out of touch. 3+ times is an insult. Don't take budget from what we ask for to fund Concords.
Thank you for the 10. I think that this is a sentiment that is fair to bring up. A lot of the core gamers, and this is what's also been assumed, is that you could make a game like a Horizon Hunter's Gathering, and the players that enjoyed, I'm sorry, this one, I just have to say this because it bugs me so much. The lighting in this shot makes it look like she has a beard. I know she doesn't, but it looks like a 5 o'clock shadow. Does it not kind of look like a 5 o'clock shadow? Like it does to me. Every time I see this angle, I think she has a beard, and I'm like, what? And then I realize, oh, it's just the weird lighting and the way it's cascade. It breaks my brain every time I see it. And now that I've shared it with you, you can be bothered by it too. Anyway, but I think that the assumption was we can just do the live service thing, and that will be successful, and we'll do the single player stuff on the side. It goes back to what Jim Ryan said back in 2021, I think it was, which was really, really simple. I'll pull up MS Paint.
Donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
Gamers have had higher expectations of late. Using EAFC as an example, players have been more dissatisfied, driving retention down. So, EA's solution.
Oh, it cut off. Hold on. So EA's solution, even more predatory monetization practices. Well, so what we're seeing, and we'll get to that, but what we're seeing is a contraction in player spending and players being much more cautious with their dollars. I think that there's a couple reasons for that. For one, broader like economic difficulties. People don't have as much expendable income to just spend on video game microtransactions. So they are much more cautious, and they don't spend as willy-nilly as maybe they did back in 2018, for example. So I think that's one. Two, I think that it's also the broader behavior of these companies when every studio is raising prices, when every game is going to 70, when all of the microtransactions are now normalized to be like $20 for a skin, 40 for a pack of skins for all of the pieces for it. Like when everything raises in price, every battle pass is now $30, it starts to really snowball, and then people just are
As a
very,
76
very
TH
cautious with their
doctor
money.
donated 36 United Arab Emirates dirhams and 99 fils through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Unrelated, but the voice actor behind Kratos in the Norse games was asked at a con about the remakes, and he confirmed the Greek trilogy remakes will have different gameplay to the old one.
I saw that. He then walked it back, though. He then walked it back. And he was like, I'm not involved in the remakes, but I'm involved in stuff that will be coming out later this summer.
At
So
DBZZ now
like, he
donated
walked it back. I'm
$10
not
through
sure.
Super Chat. I understand your point, but I do believe the gaming community is inherently negative towards most new games. I know you probably will disagree, but gamers are the professional complainers.
I think at this point, they are highly, highly skeptical whenever, especially live service stuff comes around, because so much of it is just low effort or kind of
At Tall Guy
Unwanted
752 donated $20 through
stuff
Super Chat.
like this.
Are we finally on the tail end of seeing all those games that got funded during the COVID funding boom?
Yeah.
Many games should not have been funded and have finally finished development these past couple years.
Yeah, basically, in case people are not familiar with what Tall Guy is referring to, thank you for the 20, very generous. Basically, during the COVID era, there were a lot of, like, for one, debt was so cheap that it was basically free. So studios could finance long-term projects and investments basically for free. Like, literally, the interest rate was lower than inflation, which just means it's free money. It's stupid. Math breaks when you get to interest rates that low. It just doesn't make sense anymore not to borrow, right? So that was one. The second piece, and this is what's often not really discussed, is that there were a crap ton of government sponsored, especially in Europe, government sponsored like grants. And the fear basically was, with everybody locked at home, that the arts would die. And nobody wanted that, of course. The arts are important. So what they did is they set up a crap ton of grants where they were going to use these big stimulus packages, portions of them, to fund game development projects and stuff. And those grants led to a lot of very well-known games, where you're like, where did you get the money for this? Like, how did this happen? Games that would not have been funded in the open free market, right? A really famous example would be like Dustborn. Dustborn was made with a vast chunk of its budget funded through those types of government grants. But all of that stuff is drying up now, which is why I think we're seeing a condensed intense pile of garbage. Anyway, but with this was the philosophy of Jim Ryan. Okay, his very simple idea, and Herman Hulst was his right-hand man during this time. His entire idea was, in 2020 they were spending, we'll keep it simple, I don't know the exact numbers, we'll just say that this was like 1 billion a quarter, maybe a year, I don't know, on dev costs. Okay, we'll say a year. 1 billion a year on dev costs for single player games. This is the portfolio for the PS5 era. That's what this is. Okay, and his philosophy, or his theory, basically was, we can take that 1 billion, and now that debt is so cheap, we can then just double it, add another billion, but this is just live service. So we will make the same single player stuff we made, but now we'll just spend $1 billion trying to make live service games. So we'll just double our overall investment in games, but now we'll just also get all of these live service games, so everybody will win. That ended up being a laughably naive idea, because that did not happen. What happened is they forced a lot of single player studios that would have been doing this or this. They forced a lot of them over to do this. Even Guerrilla. This is not a small spin-off project. The core team that did Forbidden West is now working on this game. So, you know, don't get it twisted that this is like a fun experiment. Like, this is their big project, okay? That happened. The Last of Us Online, Naughty Dog, after The Last of Us Part 2, spent like 4 years Not doing this, but over here. Blue Point was assigned to a God of War live service game when they could have been doing single player stuff. This is literally why the PS5 generation feels so hollow. It feels like the output has been way lower from first party studios, especially from PlayStation, compared to last gen. And it's because it literally is way lower. Literally. We're going into our 6th year of this generation. And with that, we are in a position where, amazingly enough, like at this time in the PS4 gen, we would be in 2019. We would be already like getting games like Days Gone, Bloodborne, Uncharted 4. We would have gotten God of War 2018, Red Dead 2, like all of these amazing games, not just, first party, but also third party games. At this point in the generation last time, we'd be so deep into the generation. It would be insane. Let me read these real quick. Hold on. D Burn Games, thank you for the 10. Not only are unoriginal ideas making live service games dead on arrival, but the hacking/cheating problem is also ruining the current live service market that we do have. Just look at Apex and COD. I don't know if the cheating specifically is ruining it. Like there's certainly a cheating problem, but does it affect most players? No, I think it affects like high level players a lot, but the average player freaking sucks at games, okay? Like the average Call of Duty player has a KD of like 0.9, okay? Like the average player is not running into hackers in lobbies, because if the hacker was playing, their KD will be above 0.9, right? So I'm not sure if the hacking and cheating problem is actually affecting the average player's experience in like a Marvel Rivals or something. I do think it's affecting it in a game like GTA Online, making like that really difficult to even get into on PC. Seriously, it's like insane. Don't play GTA Online on PC without like a VPN and a bunch of other stuff to protect you, because it's insane. But clearly that's still doing quite well. Let me read this one. DBZ, thank you for the very generous 20. My main issue with the community is that they seem to care more about aesthetics rather than the technical execution of gameplay and mechanics. For instance, Intergalactic was immediately written off because she's bald. I think the dangerous thing is to conflate Twitter reactions with general gamer consensus and feeling. My stance on Intergalactic was and has been that I just think it wasn't a very good trailer. It doesn't tell you much of anything about the game that you're going to be playing. I just thought it was a bad trailer. Like, ignoring leaks and rumors, what is Intergalactic? We know literally nothing other than like maybe it's going to be hunting down your team of bounty hunters or something. Like, we know nothing. Now, the leaks have told us it's taking inspiration from games like Elden Ring. It's going to be very open. The combat is way more deep than anything they've ever done. Things like that. But that's not official. That did not come from the trailer. So my point was the trailer was just bad. I do think certainly there were some people that just saw, lol, she's bald, and lost their minds at that. I think that's silly. Like, I think it's silly to not play a game because the character's bald, but is there a term for that? Is there a term for like people hating bald people, like racism but for bald people, like baldism? Is that a thing? If not, we should make that a thing. That sounds funny. And then D-Burn, thank you for the 10. Not only are I just read that one. I'm a professional, as you can tell. And then Nate Schmidt, thank you for the 12. Sorry if it's getting annoying with this question, but when you go to that Crimson Desert thing, would you see if the red items in vendor menus are character locked weapons or armor, or if that's showing a buyback system? Ooh, interesting. That's a good question. I will investigate that. Thank you. If I get access to one of the shops, I'll figure that out. Thank you. Thank you. And then Tony, I got Black Ops there were Black Ops 3 on PC, and it got hacked because I played online. Be careful with you guys. Just in general, be careful doing any online stuff nowadays. But with this, again, this was the philosophy, this was the theory, was that you could just double the spending and the output from single player would remain the same, but we would just get a bunch of live service stuff. That did not happen. Instead, output from single player studios plummeted. The live service ventures they pursued ended up being far less successful than they thought. I think they were doing this with the assumption maybe like, hey, maybe 4 will fail, but if we can get, that out of 5, we get the 1 success, which in this case, I guess would be like Helldivers, that will make it worth it. And then the next 5 attempts, we'll throw out a bunch of stuff. And if we get 1 that pops off, we have our Concord Star Wars level success. It pays for all the failures. That's the philosophy. But I think what's changed in the last 5 to 6 years is that this is no longer the reality. I think nowadays it's more like 19 out of 20 fail. And even then, you got to think about the level of success, right? Because it's true that with this, a Helldivers can pay for the 4 failures. Sure. Can a Helldivers pay for 19 failures? No. It doesn't make that much money. You need a much bigger success. You need like a Destiny 2 success. And does anybody, even the people that like what they see with Hunter's Gathering, does anybody think that this is going to blow up to the level of like a Destiny 2 or an Overwatch or I'm trying to think of another, like a Genshin Impact or something? Like, does anybody think that that's going to happen? Like, for real? Like, even if in its most successful outcome, I think it at best ends up being like a moderately successful Dauntless, but we also know how that ended. Like, I just don't see how this pitch would have ever turned into the Fortnite level success that I think they need for the math to math. And I think that's the fundamental problem and disconnect, is that it just, they're greenlighting all these things, but even if this is successful, I think its ceiling is way lower than they would need it to be. And I think that's a big problem. It's just, and you could say, well, Luke, maybe one day it'll grow into a Roblox or into a Fortnite, just like Fortnite did. Fortnite started not in its current form. The Battle Royale was kind of like a spinoff. I got Fortnite when you still had to buy it physically in stores, and it had that like single player mode, the like defense mode or whatever it was called. And that's true. That was also 10 years ago. Times change. Literally, like they change. So I can admire experimentation, trying new things, but I think that all of this is based on a couple of very, very flawed premises, which is that, for one, you can double the spending and that you can retain single player output. That's not true. Secondly, the assumption that if you make a live service game in an established IP, fans of the IP will come over and play it, giving you an assumed boost to your engagement. That's not true. Do you really think fans of God of War Ragnarok or the original trilogy would have gone over to like a God of War Hunter's Gathering game? I don't think so. Maybe a few, but I don't think so. And if anything, the big miscalculation that they made, maybe the biggest, is that they thought gamers would just shrug and be like, not for me. No, gamers have recognized that the actual output has plummeted for single player studios, and they're not getting the games that they expected to get. This now has been cut. So maybe we're getting the equivalent of like, a third of the output we expected, because all of this has just been moved over here. And that pisses them off. They took our games. To make live service stuff we don't want and that they feel entitled to. They're not making Horizon 3 yet. They'll get around to it after they do the live service thing you don't want. And again, it goes back to what Sean Layden said, which I think is very, very important to just keep in mind. Once more, there's only so many players. There's only so much time. And so when you're throwing out all these live service games, it's just not going to work. Again,
How many live service games can be successful at any one moment?
Yeah, well, there's
The
only a
answer
certain
obviously
amount of
is not
people.
20.
but PlayStation's whole strategy is built on 20. That they can compete with the behemoths. And fascinatingly enough, the one that they found success with was Helldivers 2. And that was the one, reportedly, that they had literally no involvement in. They did not expect it to be successful. They barely marketed the damn thing. They didn't touch it. And it was successful. Everything they have touched has turned to crap. And I think that these feelings are only going to get more potent and severe as time goes by. Again, the assumption was that gamers would just be like, it's not for me, and move on with their day. We've seen that that doesn't happen. And gamers are getting more and more pissed. Single player gamers are getting more and more pissed to the point where they are going to actively root against the thing that they think represents the failure of the thing they do like. Which is what we've seen all over social media. I think it was Paul. I think Paul said it. He clipped a couple of tweets that he saw, which I think exemplifies this very point. This Sony, great job, you absolute morons. What's he clipping? Comments on a marathon gameplay trailer. People saying stuff like this. This game will have moderate success if you guys are lucky. Guess losing a powerhouse is Bluepoint. Worth that. You post this after shutting down Bluepoint? No thanks. Unless it's a generational game, it's not. I'll be playing other multiplayer games. Y'all really have the audacity to post this slop after shutting down one of your best studios? You closed down Bluepoint Studios for this slop? TF. I really hope this crap flops. I swear if this game fails and you close Bluepoint Games, you should never be allowed to buy a gaming studio again. And this is just 5 comments. I looked it up. It's covered. It's covered. When will it stop? I don't think it does until the single player gamers get something that they like and that they feel like they've been taken care of. Like they're starving. I do feel for the guys that are like the hardcore PlayStation gamers and have been waiting for those first party games. They got a really good one early on in the generation with God of War Ragnarok. Other than that, like, have there been any other, like Ghost of Yotei was pretty good. I liked it, but I like Ghost of Tsushima more. There's other games that you can play for sure, but I think that the output certainly is way lower than people would have thought. It's just tough. I mean, I think with all of this sentiment is going to grow. Okay. This is going to grow. I think in the case of like a High Guard, when they were blaming gamers for being mean to them. In that case, the data is pretty clear. Gamers gave it a shot. 1.5 million by one analyst estimation. I think it was 1.53 million estimated players on day one. Downloaded it and tried it. Or I think it was in January. Downloaded it and tried it. They didn't like it. So in that case, I don't think it was that gamers were just being unreasonable and nasty and mean. There certainly were some players, but are you really going to say 500 people on Twitter are representative of the gaming community? I don't think so. But I think that what you're going to see over the next like 6 months to a year, especially as Sony continues doubling down on the live service stuff, is more and more of this. Their own fan base getting pissed off, their own diehard fans getting livid, that they are being cast aside again to prioritize the live service stuff that they don't want or aren't interested in. If they were getting like Horizon 3 and then the next week they launch Horizon Hunter's Gathering, I don't think anybody would have thrown a big fit. I think it would have been like, okay, whatever. It's not for me, but I'll just keep playing the game I'm playing. That's fine. But because it represents years and years and years of waiting, and even then, who knows if the studio will even still exist? Because they might shut them down. Yeah, we forced them to do a live service game, and then when they didn't do it the way we wanted them to, we fired them. Like, it's just insane. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think it's all very, very short-sighted, and I think it's eroding trust within the community. And then they're shocked that players are jumping ship and going to PC. And this is, I mean, I think this is all part of the reason why. Let me catch up on these real quick. Let's see. And yes, I did hear about the God of War leaks and stuff. Yeah, I feel bad about like hidden camera leaks. I know we talked initially about the Black Flag one. I now regret talking about that so much because it just feels really gross to go up with like a hidden microphone and record an actor to get information. Like that just, it's so slimy. It's so slimy. I don't like it. It makes me feel really bad. I feel bad for Christopher. Like he was trying to have a cool moment with a fan and then like they kind of betray his trust like that. It just makes me feel, ugh. It makes me feel icky. Real serious. Live service also requires much more time from people. Why would I play a live service game for so many repetitive hours if I can't get goodies without paying? Why would whales play if there's no player base? Well, yeah. And the other thing is that, you know, the player sentiment and social media sentiment is important for a live service game. Nobody wants to be the one guy playing the game everybody else says sucks, especially if it's considered uncool. Like, being a huge fan of Highguard is probably considered uncool right now, right? Like it's like, okay, hipster, you know? And I think that that's why studios are nervous about this kind of thing. But this is what happens when you mismanage studios and public perception. In his statement, in Herman's statement, I closed it. He mentioned specifically stuff like that he is very passionate and very excited about the future of PlayStation and the direction they're headed. Literally no one is confident outside of Herman's circle, seemingly. No one else is confident or happy with the direction they're taking the company. Like nobody. You would think that would be a wake-up call, but that's why gamers have a feeling that like companies like PlayStation are not trying to make stuff for them because they're like literally not. Right now, the priority is chasing Roblox money. That's the priority. That's what they're trying to do. They need some of that Roblox Fortnite money because they're looking at it. And to their credit, they're like, yeah, Spider-Man 3 being $300 million. That doesn't make sense. We can't do that forever. We need like a Fortnite to pay the bills. Sure. I would look at it and I'd be like, hey, we're going to waste billions chasing the unicorn that we're never going to catch. Or we can figure out why the hell Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million and not do that anymore. Like we can figure out how on earth are they able to make KCD 2 for like 40 million and find amazing success that way. How is it that From Software can put together an Elden Ring for less than Dragon Age the Veilguard? Like how does that happen? You know, like I would be going back to the drawing board and figuring out how to increase efficiency. Instead, no, it's throw more money at the problem. Just, it's like, hey, I have a gigantic pile of cash. It's in the campfire and it's burning. I'm going to try to put it out, grab some stacks of cash, throw it. If we cover it with enough, it'll squelch the flame because there will be no oxygen left. So just keep throwing money at the fire. Yeah, that's burning too. Well, try again. Like that's literally what they're doing. It's insane. It's crazy. It's crazy. Frosties, thank you for the 10. Thank you, Luke. I really enjoy your down to earth content and takes. Keep up the good work. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you being here. Nico, thank you for the 10. The blank canvas nature of Fortnite and Roblox made collaborations possible, drawing in new audiences constantly. Their only IP that allows for that is Astrobot. Yes. It is. And I think their point is that they could broaden it and they could twist it and bend it to make it work. Again, I think the reason they're using IP like they were trying to use God of War and The Last of Us and now Horizon is because they thought we can just make a live service Horizon game and then all of the Horizon players will come over and play it. And boom, day one, we have millions of players built in, which is just so naive. I can't even fathom it. But it's something I've heard from other studios. I remember like years and years ago, discussions of like this is probably around the time of Valhalla, discussions over making a multiplayer Assassin's Creed game. And one of the discussions was like, well, yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla has this many millions of players. So if we do a live service multiplayer game, boom, they'll jump over and try it. I'm like, I'm not sure they will. I'm not sure they will. You know, it doesn't really work that way. Doesn't really work that way. DBZ, thank you for the 5. If I remember correctly, didn't Demon Souls Remake underperform for a console launch title? I think that it wasn't like, it certainly was not a Breath of the Wild level success. I think the problem was also at the time that it launched as a launch title, the PS5 was riddled with like scalper issues, supply chain issues. I don't know if you remember, but like you couldn't find one. You couldn't buy one. Both because of supply chain issues, because of lockdowns, but also because of scalpers. It was really bad. So there were a bunch of PS5s out there, but like you couldn't get one because they couldn't get delivered to ports or because scalpers bought them up. So there were just, you know, people waiting to buy it. So that could have skewed the data. But I don't know if they ever did like a comprehensive analysis after the fact. Velvet, thank you for the 10. Have you seen the new Bungie tweet that basically said, yeah, we have no Destiny 2 content till June, but here's Marathon. At this point, the hate towards Marathon from the Destiny 2 community has reached critical. Yeah, I've seen more crash outs. That's another one where I think that they assumed a lot more Destiny players would be moving over to Marathon. And I assumed that there would be, like, it made sense to me that, okay, Destiny 2 players are not getting any love, so they might try something different from Bungie that they are putting a lot of effort into. But I think that we've seen it's not really gone that way. The rage has started to take over, and now they're just pissed. Christopher Burnett, thank you for the 5. Square Enix just teased a Nier Automata announcement saying to be continued. Even Jeff Keighley reposted the announcement on his social media. Yeah, I think they've got something. They also just passed 10 million copies sold and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something cooking there, something developing. Real Serious, thank you for the 9 months. Maybe they could have just remade PlayStation Home in a way. It was basically a Roblox type already in its heyday, and they used it to market stuff too. That would be an easy peasy thing. And then I think that that's additive. I think that that's like, okay, we're just gonna do something new and build upon that, which I think people would be fine with. They don't like people that love franchises like God of War, Horizon, The Last of Us, Assassin's Creed. They don't like the feeling that it's being messed with and manipulated to try and manipulate them into spending money on a live service game they're not interested in to begin with. They don't like that. They do not like that. But if you build something fresh from scratch, then I think they're more open to it. But that takes a long time. It has no name recognition. You got to build that up. And I think that that's also the problem. It's the same reason why, and this is something that's plagued other industries too. For example, like Disney. Disney at the Disney parks used to have things like Frontierland, and they had like Tomorrowland and things that were more generic themes. Now, what do? Everything is like Cars Land, Toy Story Land. It's like, just find the recognizable IP with name recognition and put it in there, and then boom, all of those fans will show up. It whittles it down to like the most, again, over analytical spreadsheet thinking, and it drives me crazy. Do they not still have them? They're actively tearing them down. They're being torn down to build new things like Monsters Inc. Land and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. Yeah, they're actively tearing them down. Robbie the Sky, thank you for the 5. Hunter G looks funnish. Cool art. I'll play for a week and then move to a single player RPG or indie. You don't want players like me to be your target audience. Well, yeah, because you'll play it, and once you feel like you're good with it, you move on. I think that this is not just like we say that there's different types of players that play live service versus single player, but I think that even that is like maybe too basic. I think it's literally a difference in brain chemistry. The types of people that get dopamine, like little drips from live service stuff, from grinding dailies, for example, and can do that every single day because it's part of their routine and part of what they do. Those types of people, their brain chemistry is different than like mine. I'm going to be real with you. I've played lots of live service games. I play them in small spurts. You know, I'll hop on Overwatch with some family members and stuff. same with like Call of Duty, you know. I don't think I've ever intentionally grinded daily achievements in a Call of Duty game. Luke, it's called ADHD. maybe that's what it is. That's my point, is I think that it's literally, it's not just like, well, they just need to try it and they'll like live service stuff. Like, no, I think that the gameplay loops for some of these live service games are literally built around different brain chemistries than the players who are like sitting down for a 5-hour session of KCD2. You know, like, I think that's just a different vibe. That's a second job. Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with like MMOs. There's people that like, you know, have 10,000 hours in an MMO and they still are having a good time, even though they've done that boss fight 1,500 times, and it just works for them. That wouldn't really work for me. My brain doesn't work that way. You know, just doesn't work that way. I'm glad that honestly, I'd probably have more fun if I could find one game I could put 10,000 hours into and just be happy. But my brain just doesn't work that way. Let's see. Isaac, thank you for the 10. That's very generous. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you. John the Tank, thank you for the very generous 20. Thank you. Incredibly generous. These PlayStation games would do a lot better if they didn't keep them locked to one system for the first 3 months to a year. To be fair, the live service stuff, they do bring to PC day one. Typically, I think they did that with Helldivers. There was the whole scandal with like requiring a PSN login day one. That they walked back because the servers were broken, and yeah, that was like a whole mini scandal by itself. But yeah, with the live service stuff, they bring it to PC at least. Why would a sequel sell more copies than the first game? If you want more copies sold, stop exclusivity. I think what they're doing is they're comparing something like Spider-Man 2 to Spider-Man 1, and they're both exclusive to a console. So they're like, yeah, they're just not at the same level. And they do adjustments for how many units have sold, where like this console is in its life cycle. They'll adjust for that. Even then, these sequels are not outperforming the first titles, at least not anywhere near as much as they should to justify the expense. And I think that's the problem. The economics of the blockbuster video game were broken right after COVID. And I think it's because efficiency plummeted, maybe because of work from home stuff, maybe because of heightened player expectations, maybe because cost of living crises, maybe all of those. But pretty clearly, like, productivity plummeted. Games are taking 6, 7, 8 years to make now, and even then they launch with bugs and performance issues, and they're only 15 hours long, and people are like, what have you been doing for this long? You know, I don't understand. So I think that the economics of the big blockbuster just kind of fell apart. I know, anytime I say 6, 7, goddamn it. every time. Rudy, thank you for the 10. As a huge PlayStation fan, I'm worried about Bend Studio and Media Molecule. They haven't put out anything in a while. Yeah, I like Sony Bend because I liked Days Gone. That was in 2019. So they've not made a game in longer than Bluepoint. And their game was like in the 70s on Metacritic, and Bluepoint's was in the low 90s. Like, if you're trying to gauge it based on quality and critical reception, which typically PlayStation cares a lot about, what are we doing? But I think that that's also part of the shift. You know, I think, yeah, here it is. I think we're just starting to see a shift where PlayStation is not starting. We've been seeing this shift for years, but I think Sony no longer is prioritizing like cream of the crop critical reception, and they're going more for volume. Sons of Sparta, like for a big IP, like a big title like this is crazy. Oh, Detective Seeds, Jesus. Jeez, Detective Seeds just gifted 20 memberships to YouTube. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope you're feeling better, my friend. That's wild. I'm incredibly generous, and I mean, I feel like I should be gifting you stuff, dude. You've been going through it. Pogs, man, thank you. That's incredibly generous. Thank you. And welcome. If you just got a membership, get your booty over to our Discord server. We have memes galore For example, let me share just a couple with you. Yes, people have started receiving their Yes We Candle shirts. I have my hold on. Here it is. Hold on. You can get this. Hold on. Gotta put it on. I haven't washed it yet. I just got it in the mail the other day. Yes, we candle. Sponsored by Big Cotton. Yep. This is what I want. You're damn right. You're damn right. Cap'n Herman's Oops, all live service games, sweetened corn and oat cereal. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You guys are pretty good. 53 Nights got that one. Mr. Mo, yeah, with our Keebler elf Todd Howard. Doesn't it just kind of look right? Literally, dude, this is so perfect. Somebody made this after my rant about the creation engine. Yeah, that's pretty right. That's about right. Mantequilla, thank you for the bits. I know Corey often visits the stream. Can you please ask if he's affiliated or involved with the God of War trilogy remake? If he is, I'll have high hopes, and I will definitely pre-order like I did with Ragnarok. I mean, next time he shows up, we can ask him. I'm not sure if he can say. I know he's working on his own stuff, so I would be doubtful that he is working on it, but you never know. You never know. I think it's a long ways off. That's the other piece. I think we're not seeing that till probably the PlayStation 6, frankly. I don't think that's close at all. I think it's far off. Yeah. They refuse to let them make Days Gone 2, then force them to make live service. Now they'll close them down. Yeah, it's like literally, do this, and they start doing it. It's like, never mind, you're fired. Like literally, that's what they're doing. Literally, that's what they're doing. Do we have any others? You can make anything, but not everything. The team of Crimson Desert, challenge accepted. Yeah, that's about right. Brightown, thank you for that. Thank you. Oh my god. Let me finish this. Thank you again, Detective Seeds. That was incredibly generous. Vintage, thank you for the 5. Any news / thoughts on Blood of the Dawnwalker? I would say the Dawnwalker. I think it's Blood of Dawnwalker. No release date yet. Hope it comes out this summer because fall is too booked up right now. I think that's what they're pushing for. I don't know if like when or if we'll hear from them, but yeah, they're working on it. DBZ, thank you for that. I don't trust Metacritic. If I did, I wouldn't have played High on Life, which I loved. I do like High on Life. High on Life is pretty cool. I don't know if you guys saw this. Hold on, let me pull it up. High on Life. Actually, this might be a spoiler. So maybe I won't. Maybe I won't show it. There's a moment in High on Life 2 that is outrageous. That is very, very funny, and it's making fun of streamers and stuff. It's very good. I won't spoil it in case you haven't played it, but it's quite funny. It's quite funny. It's very good. It's very good. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Anyway, circling back, Jacob's gonna kick my ass because he's like, you didn't close out the last segment. So I'll close out with this. All of this to say, I can't stand Hermen Hulst's leadership. He literally had the chance to make this happen, and instead he's choosing to prioritize games like Horizon Hunter's Gathering. And I understand why they're doing it, because the industry more broadly is getting more difficult. But I think they had a choice to make, and it was, we can break it down. We can try to figure out a way to make these games more efficiently, and maybe when a live service game makes sense, greenlight it and give the team the time to work on it, like with a Marathon or with a Destiny 3 or something. We can take the time to figure it out, but we're not just going to throw 10 things at the wall and hope one of them sticks, because eventually that's going to lead to problems, and that's what we've seen. I remember making a video back in like 2022 saying, I think the idea of throwing four games at the wall, they all fail, and then getting one successful live service game, it makes sense if that's making $1 billion. But I think what they're not factoring into is the reputational damage of knowingly releasing 4 flops. I don't think that really works long term. And what I didn't expect is that the industry would become so much more hostile towards live service games, which is what's happened. Now it's not like, oh, well, we'll give it a shot. I remember looking at Helldivers, the initial trailer, because they weren't marketing it. It was at like a state of play. It was one of the first things they showed for like a minute. And I remember seeing it and being like, probably not for me. I just don't really understand what that game's about. And it ended up being fantastic. But, I think that the lack of attention that game received probably helped it. Now there's a spotlight on every one of these live service games that they do, and all of the single player gamers that have been kind of left behind this generation, they are just pissed that they are being forced to sacrifice the slam dunks that would make them very, very happy at the altar of the live service, what they consider to be slop. And it's not a shocker that they're pissed. I think the industry will level out, as it always does. I think there's still single player games that are popping off, doing incredibly well. I see, one person mentioned KCD2. I think that's a great example of a game that did very well, was properly scoped and managed, was amazingly polished for how vast and expansive it was. And it didn't cost an arm and a leg to make. I think the budget was like $40 million. In the age of Spider-Man 2 costing $300 million. If I were Herman, I'd be a lizard. But if I were in his position, I would be evaluating things and being like, why did that cost $300 million? Who bought a $150 or $150 million mansion on the team? Because that money had to go somewhere. I don't understand how it could possibly have happened like that. We got to figure that out. I'd break it down and I'd be reevaluating that. And again, greenlighting a live service project when it makes sense, but focusing on what we do well and building the community from there. Because ultimately what I think PlayStation has done this generation is they've shown a couple of solid games that were in the works before Hermen Hulst took over, like God of War Ragnarok and Ghost of Yotei, which also got greenlit, right around 2020. So at the very, very early stages. But other than those, like most of their output has been mediocre and just lazy live service crap, and has demonstrated a real disconnect from the reality of their own fans and player base. And I don't think it's going to get better as long as he's in charge. I don't think it's going to get better. I think, again, if you think that this is bad, I think they're going to lay off even more. And I think that they're going to also release even more insane garbage that you're going to be like, who greenlit this? What are we doing? I think that's going to keep happening. I don't think that's changing at all. So there you go. Let's see. Velvet, thank you for that 10. They've already mastered live service games in the past. Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, The Last of Us multiplayer, Left 4 Dead 2. Those games are still being played to this day. All they need to do is remaster or enhance them to recoup their losses. I think the thing is that they're looking at those and like Last of Us multiplayer, for example, those player counts that they have on like factions, I don't think are anywhere near high enough to justify basically an entire studio working on it, which is what you need if you want to create an actual live service game that makes $1 billion a year, which is what they want. Like, that's the thing, is they don't want something that has moderate success. They want the unicorn. And they're willing to sacrifice 20 horses hoping that one of them pops a horn out right before they execute it. And it's just, I don't think it's working. Pretty clearly. I think it's not working too good. Frankly, gonna be real. Let's see. Gross Stabber, thank you for the 20. Mr. Church made a 76 Atom Shop overview video 9 days ago. The first sentence of the title, their worst mistake yet. It shows some egregious marketing. Notable timestamps are 954, 654, or 1654, 1758, 1935. Love your content. What is it? Hold Hold on. You said it says Fallout 76. Hold up. Hold up. How is it getting worse? Is this the video? Okay. So this is what you're referring to. Is this video? You said notable timestamps are 9:54. Okay, we'll just go a little bit before it. Let's see.
In a dying vehicle. Whoever has been working on these camp items lately actually has been eating down, but whoever has been working on the Atom shop lately has been throwing up. Now, they've been doing this thing where they have been updating the shop and they add like a weekend sale, okay? And I haven't been making an extra video to cover those because up until this day, they've still been in the shop. The following Tuesday when I made my video, so I could talk about it then. But this one they got rid of, and I think I know why. This is the burned something bundle, okay? It's not a bundle that I recognize the name of. In the picture of it, doesn't show random different assortment of items. It just shows a cat, okay? But then when you look in the bundle, not only does it not list anything down here to tell you what's in it, and there's no picture to show what should be in it, but there's actually empty pictures and things missing. For example, where's the cat? You know what I mean? So this could have so many items in it that are not even shown because they don't even have pictures for it. And in my opinion,
Again, bear in mind, Todd said this is the game he's most proud of.
this is the most egregious thing that they've done so far. And I think I said that last week and the week before. So whoever's been putting the shop together, like, I sincerely hope that you're going to be replaced by someone who can actually do their job soon.
I seriously hope you're fired. 1654. You know, it's pretty bad when even somebody that's like actively covering your game is like, guys, you need to be fired. What are we doing?
Bombs Away bundle. This has the Flyboy helmet, the aviator paint for the Fat Man, the nuclear test bunker shelter, the brass nuke backpack flare, the Bombs Away mobile, the flying fortress, and the Flyboy outfit. They've done it again. For
$15.
And what are we missing now? I think we're missing the aviator paint for the Fat Man. So that's gone. That's not in any picture that I can see. Not even.
They just like don't even properly update it. Like, dude, it's just so lazy. It's wild.
It is mine. Wasteland's Sweetheart. Well, hello? Wasteland's Sweetheart. Bundle. No, this isn't a bundle. It's just a sweetheart. Now, this makes no sense. What does this have to do with sweethearts? Show your love for the true sweetheart of the wasteland. Oh, okay. So we've got the Deathclaw pelt rug, the Deathclaw slow roaster, the Deathclaw mascot helmet, the Deathclaw topiary, and the mini Deathclaw statue.
Yeah, how is this
Okay.
sweetheart?
Good. That's nice. Anyway.
I don't understand. I don't get it. 2432 you said? Okay, what's this one?
Have the UFO Hunter bundle. This comes with Catherine Swan. This, which is a UFO umbrella patio table. This is gonna be the this is probably the Starscape wallpaper and the Starscape floor and foundations. And then we've got the alien backpack flare and the UFO umbrella, or the UFO alien ship backpack flare and the alien flare.
Okay, fam, this pains me to say as a father of two little boys, but we need to bring back bullying for real. Like, how is any of this? Who's buying this? Who's buying this crap? Like, honest question. How does this even happen? This is insane. $750. A full $750 for that. $750. And they're showing other stuff in here that's like, oh, that's $6. This is a full $10. This one's $12. Like, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But this is why, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is why Bethesda's pushing all this stuff, because the margins are crazy. This Hometown Heroes bundle, dude, this took one dude an afternoon. Okay, not really. It probably took him a week. And he was high as a kite for most of it, because that's why he didn't upload the proper photos for it. Like, this is so cheap to pump out. So low effort. You give me a gun and paint it blue. That's literally what this is, okay? Except in that case, they're charging you $3 for it, I think, or $2 for it in the Evolve video. This is $15 for an ambulance vehicle you can't drive. They made sure of that. They flattened the tires and took the wheels off. An outfit, a repair bot, a title suffix, a paint color, a face dressing, and then another dress, a little dress. That literally is $15. Like, this is why they do it. This is why they do it, because these margins are so stupid high and so low effort, and people are still buying it. That's what's really shameful. That's why I say bring back bullying. Okay, bring back bullying. Because it's crazy talk that this would be deemed acceptable in any world. It's just amazing. And then, of course, again, just the classic Bethesda flair of like the photos aren't right, and so they don't match the description. And I'm sure you buy it, there's a 30% chance it doesn't download. And oh my god. Oh, you know what? We need to add a segment to the stream where I just play Stardew Valley for 10 minutes in between each segment. Otherwise, my blood pressure is just going to be too high for all of this. I'm going to die at 30 because I'm just crashing out. I can't handle it. It's just one of these days I'm going to be like, and then Todd, when is just... I'm just going to die. I'm going to keel over. Oh my god, it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. Speaking of stupid, again, if you want to rep some Luke Stevens merch, I make like 30 cents on each of these, but I will put the link in chat if you want to rep a Yes We Candle shirt. And support the stream, and also just have something funny. You can send us a picture of you wearing it. I'll put that in chat. The website looks like this. Even if you don't buy anything, it has this cool little thing I demanded that they put in the back end code for the website, where you can like merge all the little dots. It's weirdly satisfying to do. And so even if you don't buy anything, just head over to the website and click around. It's a fun time. It's weirdly mesmerizing, frankly. But you can get a shirt, looks like this, and it'll help you remember, no matter what trouble you're in life, yes, we candle. Yes, we candle. Let's talk about another stupid thing that's going to get my blood rushing and pumping. Not in a fun way. You ready? Ready? What colors did the t-shirt come in? Right now, just this. It's a slightly off-white. I thought it worked well with the design, but if you have a color request, I'm open to it. Do you ship to Europe? Yes, it just might take a minute. You ready? New segment. It happened, guys. Yves Guillemot was tired of the bullying. He was tired of people making fun of them for having no idea what they're doing. So he went to Variety and did an interview, an exclusive interview. And there's a lot of interesting little tidbits in here. The CEO of Ubisoft explains the 3-year plan to revamp the game publisher through new creative house strategy, more than $200 million in cost reductions. In large part, it's mainly just him going through his talking points. This is not like hard-hitting journalism or anything. It's just not not the point of it. But they do ask some questions. So like, how does the completion of the Tencent partnership impact Ubisoft's long-term growth strategy, particularly in Asian markets? Tencent brings unparalleled knowledge of Chinese ecosystem. Their expertise will help us position our brands in a way that truly resonates with local players while also acting as a powerful distribution partner. We see significant potential for franchises such as Rainbow Six to scale in China to levels comparable to or even exceeding other major markets in both player base and revenue, which I agree should happen if they know what they're doing. With Vantage Studios now established, established. Will there be announcements on the next Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six Siege, and Far Cry games soon? Do you see the pipeline for development on those franchises speeding up under this new model? Oh, good question. We have a solid pipeline underway across Vantage Studios under the Assassin's Creed brand. Several titles are in development, spanning both single player and multiplayer, with the ambition to further grow a community that exceeds 30 million players last year. On Far Cry, anticipation is high, and we currently have 2 very promising projects in development. Rainbow Six is coming back strongly, recently passing 2.5 million players daily, and will continue to grow. The 6th Invitational in Paris drew impressive viewership. We also have outlined our ambitions for a year 11 roadmap for a Rainbow Six Mobile, More broadly, with Vantage Studios established, we have early evidence that our new operating model better empowers our teams to fully focus on their franchises, which over time will translate into a greater predictability in our pipeline and stronger engagement for our players, which is true. Like, that's the idea, is that it's going to be less, and there should be less variety in terms of quality. That's also one of the thoughts and ideas and hopes that they have. But what are a couple of like the big things that have started to go a little bit more viral from these statements? Well, Zephyrus did a really good job clipping these over on Twitter. Some specific quotations, okay, that are in here. When asked about Prince of Persia, said, "It remains a beloved and active brand and continues to play an important role in our creative house portfolio and long-term strategy." Basically says nothing. I think it's on ice until further notice. I doubt we see it anytime soon. Several major projects are moving full steam ahead. While we're not ready to share exact release dates, we're thrilled that Netflix has greenlit a live-action Assassin's Creed series and has already begun announcing cast members. That is happening. We'll see if that ends up being good, being Netflix. I'm not so sure, but we'll see. Production has been completed on the live-action feature film set in the Watch Dogs universe with New Regency, and FX has officially placed a series order for a Far Cry live-action show. Okay. Over the next 5 years, our ambition is to grow our existing franchises in ways that delight players. Our open-world adventure franchises like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ghost Recon, The Division, and many others have incredible potential, and we want to reach new players, offer fresh experiences, and keep our communities engaged over time. The goal is to create new worlds where players want to come back, explore more, and enjoy new ways to play, which is a lot of words to say basically nothing. But one of the other interesting little tidbits that came out of this, JoeRaptor dug this up, or rather it initially came from Insider Gaming, but JoeRaptor clipped it, which is how I saw it. But what is this? Well, so they confirmed that 2 new Far Cry games are in development. Multiple Assassin's Creed titles are in development. What are these specifically? Well, the 2 new Far Cry games are codenamed Blackbird and Maverick, with Blackbird being the next mainline Far Cry game, and Maverick a kind of extraction shooter. We say a kind here because Maverick has been rescoped and iterated multiple times during development, with the last major change coming late last year. Blackbird has also had problems of its own and has seen the game internally delayed multiple times, with the latest delay coming earlier this year as part of Ubisoft's announced restructuring. In the interview, Eve also confirms that multiple Assassin's Creed projects and games are in development with both single and multiplayer experiences. 3 games are understood to be fully locked in, quote unquote, according to Insider Gaming sources, with Invictus, a multiplayer title, and Obsidian, the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, scheduled to release later this year. The 3rd game, codenamed Neo, publicly known as Hexe, is now scheduled to release in 2027. As part of Ubisoft's recent restructuring, 2 Assassin's Creed games were internally canceled. This one's going to blow you away. One being the already released mobile game Assassin's Creed Rebellion, and the second game called Assassin's Creed Singularity. Again, whatever you think, pillows on your hands, friends. The face palming is about to commence. To their credit, they canceled what I'm about to describe, but this was in development for years. Assassin's Creed Singularity was in development for a couple of years, said sources, and was intended to be a virtual trading card game with Web3 and blockchain integration. The game was scheduled to release on both PC and mobile platforms. They literally, for years, were working on an NFT Assassin's Creed card game. Like Hearthstone, but with NFTs. for years. Even what's crazy, like if they said that they worked on that for a week, I'd be like, okay, you worked on that for a week in 2020 or 2021, whenever NFTs were hot for 3 days, and then you decided to shut it down. Okay, I could explain that. But they say for a couple of years. That's what's described here, a couple of years. Even if you say it was greenlit during the boom of NFTs in 2021, by 2023, 2 years later, a couple of years later, NFTs were definitely not cool anymore. Okay? Like, this was in the works way after it would have ever been considered possibly successful. Like, that's crazy. That's insane. Live service games don't seem so bad anymore in comparison. I mean, kinda, yeah. It's crazy. To their credit, they canceled it. I think they could see the writing on the wall. What do you mean my Abstergo coin is now worth less than toilet paper? Exactly. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And this was the thing I quote tweeted, like Joel Raptor tweeted out the snippet and was like, wow, they really dodged a bullet on that one. And I kind of crashed out when I saw it. And to be clear, they already did do another NFT thing. I shared this, which some people don't remember, but this was, they called them souls, like digital souls is what they described these things as. And they were little like 3D printed statuettes that would also have engraved in them an ID that was tied to an NFT identifier that was registered on the blockchain. So it was like a collectible that's also an NFT. They did release these, but what I've never understood, like there were multiple companies that did these things. What I never understood about these is that they're physical collectibles that are also NFTs. And like the NFT thing is supposed to make it truly unique. I'm like, bitch, what is this? Like you literally are printing on it just like any other collectible. 1 of 500. Like, do you really think somebody's going to get their own multi-million-dollar 3D printing thing to build something like this and then to duplicate? Like, what? And that we won't be able to tell which one's legitimate and which one's not? Like, why do I need an NFT for that? How does that make any sense? Caleb, thank you for the 10. I just won the lottery. I'm looking for a way to throw away my money. You know of any Assassin's Creed garbage games? Well, you just missed it. Oh man, they should have greenlit it. Shucks. No mention of AC Jade. No, so that's the thing is AC Jade is being made by Tencent. It's being made by a different company. And so it's not being made by Ubisoft. So they don't discuss that on their calls because it's not theirs. They licensed their IP for it, but they're not making it. So they don't have to talk about it. So it could mean it's coming out next week, or that it's been canceled, but they just aren't saying, you know. But the other key takeaway from this is that, you know, the timeline descriptions. So as you can see here, Invictus, a multiplayer title, and Obsidian, the Black Flag remake, are scheduled to release this year. The third game, codenamed Neo, publicly known as Hexe, is now scheduled to release in 2027, meaning we should get Invictus, the multiplayer game, and the Black Flag remake this year. Hexe is now next year. It got pushed out. It was supposed to be this fall, and now it's pushed out. Maybe they go to a spring window, but my understanding is it's supposed to be kind of spoopy. And so if it's kind of spoopy, I don't know why they would release it in the spring. I would wait until fall, but that also is easier said than done because they should also have Far Cry ready by that time. So is Far Cry the spring game and Hexe is the fall game, or is Hexe the spring game and Far Cry is the fall game? I don't know, but they have options. With this, I'm so thoroughly intrigued to find out more about Invictus. I just don't know. I do think there's a world in which an Assassin's Creed multiplayer game can do well because they do have a large casual audience. I just don't know. I don't know if it will do that. Like, I don't know if this is that world. You know, like I just don't know. And I specifically don't know if the Ubisoft of 2026 is capable of doing it. Like, there were Assassin's Creed multiplayer modes that were fun. AC Unity black box missions and stuff were fun in co-op. Some of the other multiplayer modes they had were fun. I don't know how they build it out into a dedicated multiplayer game, but we'll see. It also depends also if they're going to do like a premium price thing. Are they going to charge $70 for it? Like that changes the equation, or is it free to play? I don't know. I pronounce it Hex. Apparently it's Hexa. Hexa is apparently the proper German pronunciation, but whatever. Briartone, thank you again for the membership. Luke Smith, thank you for the 5. Favorite Fortnite son or Roblox daughter. I'm not sure what that's a reference to, but thank you for the 5. Xander Swallows. I misread that. Xander Sallows. Maybe he swallows. I don't know. Thank you, Xander. I am so sorry for the 5. Ghost of Tsushima and Yote Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom are my favorite games. Could you suggest me a new game to play based on that? Elden Ring. You didn't list Elden Ring. Play that if you haven't already. If you haven't already, play Elden Ring for sure. Let's see. Meki maybe. What's y'all's hope for Corey's new game? So, hold on. Who said it? I think it was it Cammy? Hold on. Hold up. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. New mini segment thing. So Cammy on Twitter posted this, rumors about the next Santa Monica game from credible sources. These are the bullet points. Now, some of these I've heard, some of them I've not. So I'm not saying that they're not real. I just haven't heard some of these rumors myself. So they could be real. It could be legitimate. I just haven't heard some of them. For example, it says Cory Barlog is directing. That I think is fair. I do think that he's probably directing the next thing that releases, because that is our understanding. The second bullet point I've not actually heard. Not a new IP, but it might feel like one. This, are you ready? Are you ready for pure hopium? Are you ready? What would be a new IP or a not new IP that them returning to would feel fresh? With like a fresh reboot. What could do that? For me, I think there's one answer. There's one slam dunk answer. That would be so easy for them to just kill it. And then there's what I think is probably the more realistic option. Okay, like what's actually happening. But my hopium for what it is something they previously touched, enhanced. And I know that because their logo is in the splash screen. Any guesses? Yeah, I'm just pure hopium that it's the Order 1886. pure hopium, pure hope. Jacob says, if you're thinking the Order, someone may have already debunked it. Shut up. Get banned. You should send me whatever that debunk is so that we can look at it. That would be interesting. But the pure hopium. Okay. Realistically, if again, I've not heard this. I've not heard that it's not a new IP. What my understanding was that it was a new IP and it was expected to maybe be sci-fi. So I'm not sure what his sources are that are saying it's not sci-fi and it's not a new IP. But he seems confident about it. Put it in all caps. That's interesting. So if I'm going through the laundry list of possibilities and things that it could be, I'm like Order 1886 or maybe a much older IP. But I'm also like, what's an older IP that would actually interest Corey? And that's one where I just don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. Mods, please ban Luke from his own stream, please. Yeah. Can you please time out Luke officially forever? So I don't know what that would be, honestly. Sly Cooper, maybe. I think that would be like such a crazy pivot. That's possible. What it could also mean, again, it's Gaming Leaks and Rumors put together a list of leaks and rumors as they do recently. Okay, well, maybe we pull that up. Gaming leaks and rumors. Cory Barlog. I'm sure Cory is just sitting in chat laughing his ass off, being like, they have no idea I reinvented Tetris. They have no idea. No idea, frankly. Cory Barlog, Santa Monica's next project, Everything We Know. Confirmed to be, I can't read. Confirmed to be directed by Cory Barlog. Okay. Okay. This is from Jason Schreier. Very reliable. Very, very reliable. Okay. It's Santa Monica's next big thing. Last time I spoke to anyone about it a month or two ago, it was going well. Neither a new IP nor sci-fi. It's not a new IP, but it might feel like one. Maybe that's why people are confused. The sci-fi stuff that people have apparently believed for years now is nonsense. Oh, Jason said it. Jason, you sly dog. I'll put it this way. It's not a new IP, but it might feel like one. Maybe that's why people are confused. Please don't ask me any more questions about this. If I wind up reporting more information at any point in the future, it'll be in an article, not on a forum. I can also confirm that Ashong knows what they're talking about and that the sci-fi stuff that people have apparently believed for years now is nonsense. And Ashong, was that the first post? Dude, this is comprehensive. Golly. Okay. All sorts of stuff in here. That's wild. Anyway, so there's that. Okay. Ashong, a Reset Era user corroborated by Jason, so that they said it's not a licensed IP, so don't worry. Okay. Okay. So it's not a licensed IP. Okay, I'm tracking. Tom Henderson said it's a new mainline game, God of War game is in the works with Egyptian elements. What he said, I think this was on his podcast. There's also a new mainline God of War in development, which has like kind of similar themes. I think like God of War, but Kratos this time has like, it's like an Egyptian sword, you know, like a curved Egyptian sword. Oh, like what they call it, sabers. Yeah, something like that. So I don't know, but yeah, like the Prince of Persia's got or whatever. Sorry, it's tough to transcribe a podcast and it not sound stupid. Shinobi said it's not an Atreus focused title, considering what Cory Barlog told Eric Williams about what absolutely had to happen in the latest God of War, and given that Cory's game won't be a new IP but could pass for one, I think a game with Atreus as the main character is probably a good bet. And then Shinobi posted an "Are you sure?" gif. Oh, okay. A Dumb and Dumber gift. I mean, that's definitive, frankly. Okay, so he's not so sure about an Atreus game. Okay. Shouldn't be as far as 2028 for release. What was said was multiple full production teams are extremely rare, so I guess they have a big team on Cory's game for around 2028 with a smaller pre-production team on the God of War remake. And Shinobi said not that far, barring any delays, of course. Debunked IPs through vague answers, such as The Order. What's this? Don't do this to me. Has an insider ruled out Cory's game being a reimagining of The Order 1886 IP? And then he posted the gif of being sprayed by a water bottle. Damn it, dude! Shinobi, you better be full of crap, dude. That would be so cool if they did that, but I will admit, this makes me not feel confident that that's what this is, dude. That's... Maybe he's trying to calm you down because it's so excited over the truth. Maybe that's what that is. He's sadly a reliable leaker. Yeah, I mean, Shinobi knows what he's talking about if he talks about it. Nate the Hate said the game is scheduled for 2027. You said we won't hear about it until the end of 2027. Unless major delays, the game will be out in 2027. Other miscellaneous details found on job listings include required experience with third-person titles and the fantasy genre. In my opinion, this is looking like a new God of War title with an open world setting, which could explain why it's been described as a departure from whatever has been previously done with the IP. If that wasn't the case, though, I could see them resurrecting Heavenly Sword or Legend of Dragoon. That's possible as well. I think there's a maybe 50 to 60% chance that what this is it's going to be in the God of War universe. So it's like it's not a new IP, but it will be such it'll have a different protagonist. It won't be Kratos. It'll be like, I don't know. It could be just a total departure and pivot. The fact that they say experience in the fantasy genre, that's interesting to me. That's very, very interesting to me. Legend of Dragoon. So Legend of Dragoon, just to bring it up to people, is a 1999 game. As you can see here, it's a role-playing game focused on fantasy elements, features 3 modes of play: the area map, the field, and the battle screen. In the first mode, players explore the world of Legend of Dragoon by following predetermined routes on a linear 3D map. At the end of each route are towns and dungeons for players to explore. The player can access new routes and areas as the plot progresses. In the field mode, the player navigates fully scaled versions of the locations represented on the area map, superimposed on pre-rendered backgrounds. The player can explore the environment, interact with characters, and advance the story. At important story moments, the game will explain plot elements using CGI clips. And that was made by, of course, SIE, which is why they would have rights to it. But if they were to go back to that, that would be a deep cut. And I would say if they do something where it's like a reboot of that IP, it would be effectively a new IP, because I think it would just be like so different from what anybody had experienced that it would just feel totally new. So that's possible as well. That's possible. What is fascinating though is that, like, I don't think anybody, at least publicly, has any idea. They've managed to actually keep it very, very secret, which is kind of amazing. That's kind of crazy that it's so secret. Because I mean, you would think that something would have leaked out by now. Clearly, industry insiders know what it is, but people like you and me have no freaking idea. So the guess is that it's revealed this summer with a release in 2027. I don't know, man. I don't know. Now I'm all the more intrigued. Jacob says, I did a lot of digging on this the other night, and there's almost nothing tying Corey to any of the other IPs people are speculating. That's the thing. But that, I mean, does that mean that he wouldn't do it if he's not attached to it? If he doesn't have experience on it, I don't think that means that he's not doing it. He could have gone to them. Like back in 2007, when people were like, hey, I think Bethesda is going to work on Fallout. Everybody was like, yeah, but Todd and those guys, they've never worked on Fallout. They have the same parent company, but like I don't think they have any connection to it until they did. So I wouldn't say that's disqualifying. It's still possible. Jordy, thank you for the 5. With Atreus powers, I can see him being the main focus in a fantasy setting. Yeah, but they did say that it's not Atreus focused. So whatever it is, it's not Atreus focused. I struggle to imagine a God of War game where Kratos is not the protagonist, without doing something like it's God of War, but the god of the Japanese pantheon of war. You know, I don't know how I can do that. You think we can summon Corey in here with a Corey candle? I don't have a Corey candle, actually. I feel bad about that. I have a Chris Roberts candle and a Hidetaka Miyazaki candle, but I don't have, and a Kojima candle. I have that. I think Kojima's just on the other side of the Chris Roberts candle, though. Dude of battle. Yeah, exactly. Or what if it's not a new IP? It's actually a reimagining of Ratatouille. God of vegetables. And it's just a cooking simulator. That could suck, maybe. That could be cool. I don't know. Is Luke going to the Crimson Desert event next week? Yes, I will be going to a Crimson Desert event next week. I shall be. Yes, indeed. Shall be. I'll be there. You better believe it. I am personally So excited we're getting Legacy of Kain, or 2 Legacy of Kain games next month. If they do well, I'm hoping Crystal Dynamics will relaunch the series. I'm sure they're keeping that as an option if it does well. We'll see. We will see. Could be a game like The Witcher, an RPG with choices in the world of God of War. Yeah, it's just how do you specifically frame that? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Not a new IP, but will feel like a new IP. That to me says if it's a new IP, it's probably one that has not been touched in a while. Because if it was touched recently by Sony, I think it would have been turned into like a third-person adventure game. So for it to feel like a new IP, to me would suggest that it's a totally new format for it, right? So maybe it was previously an isometric game, or it was, you know, from way back in the day where it just was much more rigid, you know? So it's got to be something that feels very, very different. If it feels like a new IP, it screams RPG to me. So you mean like a God of War RPG? I don't know. What's throwing me off is the fantasy elements. The fact that they're saying like people they're hiring need experience in fantasy. That could just mean like you need experience with like animating magical effects, and that's the extent of it. It doesn't mean much more than that, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm still pissed about the water bottle, spraying the water bottle. Maybe he's like, you're too close. You're too close. I think this would be freaking baller though, dude. I'm sure whatever it is, it's going to be great, Corey. I'm sure. Because I'm sure he's going to see this. He'll watch the clip back and laugh his ass off. You know, the most embarrassing. Okay, it wasn't really embarrassing. I thought it was funny. There was this segment we did the other day where we were talking about Crimson Desert. I think it was this one. I think it was this one. Where is it? This, where I prayed to Will Powers. Yeah. Dear Will Powers, hallowed be thy name. Thy promises be vast and expansive. Please don't overhype, but let this game be great. Yeah, he saw that and sent me a DM and was like, what? I was like, okay, I guess I shouldn't pray to people I know anymore. That's maybe a weird thing to do. Okay, fair, my bad. Sorry, what do you want from me? Okay. So I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful. Anyway. So who knows what it is? If you have guesses and you're watching the stream clip back, then let me know what your guess is in the comments, because this is very, very interesting. I don't know, man. I don't know. If I had to go out on a limb, I think it's something really old. I think it's something that we've not heard. The Dragoon thing makes sense because it would be a really old IP, beloved, but by bringing it into the modern era, it would feel totally different. Other than that, you know, you could take an established IP. My gut tells me it's not God of War. My gut tells me it's something else. Maybe it is God of War and it's just going to be like an open world RPG with a different protagonist. But I think the most obvious protagonist to use is Atreus. So if it's not an Atreus focused game, are they going to have like Freya be the protagonist of an open world RPG God of War game? Like, how does that work? I don't know. Like, I think it'd be cool to shift it and maybe you do something with like, I don't even know what you would do. I don't know. You could flip the perspectives and you could go play as like the god of war for what's the Egyptian god of war? Egyptian god of war. Montu. So like imagine if you played as Montu hunting down Kratos in an open world RPG, and then the next god of war is from the other perspective of Kratos in the more traditional, not traditional, but the like Norse saga style, where then you go at him. And so then they would achieve sort of the Last of Us Part 2 effect, where you've seen both perspectives, and they do the Uno reverse exactly and make you play as Kratos killing it. That could be cool. It worked so well with Ellie and Abby. Well, this would be different because it would be a standalone game. And as long as as long as you don't get forced to kill Kratos, I think it would work. God of Sand. Where are we going? In the direction of sand. Everywhere. What do you mean? Over there. That's where. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm interested. Yeah. Kratos loses to a golf club. Like, I'm starting to think that this is like a Sony thing. Why do they like golf so much? This is weird. Well, another new demigod would be cool because you're technically not as strong as a full-on god. Gives you somewhere to go, for sure. The NPCs you kill, they have a family too. Feel sad about it. Yeah, you monster. You pig. You should feel bad for them. You should feel bad. You're a bad person. Killing all those NPCs. Anyway. And an Egyptian theme. Yeah, it would achieve that too. And it would give them the ability to build all of the assets for the God of War Egypt game and then be able to recycle a lot of them so they'd save money. I'm just saying, I think it could work. And you could even call it something totally disconnected. So it's not branded as God of War. It's like Anubis Reckoning or something like that. And so people play through it. And then at the very end, the camera pulls back. And it pulls up over the desert. Like, you know, it's following the character as he walks through the desert. And then the camera pulls back till he's just small as he's walking into the endless expanse. Maybe pyramids are in the far distance. And the camera swoops up and then spins around and drops to the ground. And then you see a foot step in the sand. And it pulls up. And it follows the red stripe around his back. And you see Kratos. And you realize these are in the same universe. This is a God of War game. It's just the prequel to what's about to happen. Boom! Money, please. I think that I you know what? Honestly, that could be cool. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Yeah. Dude, imagine the crash outs that would happen. You just gave Corey the inspiration to kill Kratos. Yeah, do it, pussy. You won't. Yeah. I want to be at the interview with Corey. People like, so in this next God of War game, you killed Kratos in a really dramatic fashion. What was the inspiration for that? This dumbass YouTuber dared me to, so I kind of had to. So he left me no choice. He said I was a little bitch if I didn't do it. I ain't no bitch, so we killed him. That's how it has to be, man. That's how it goes. Yeah, I'd respect it. That could work. It just might work. It just might work. Okay, fam. I appreciate the gosh darn heck out of you guys. I'm sorry this was so meandering. I kind of lost track of it. But yeah, I don't know what Corey's working on, but I'm excited to find out. And it sounds like we'll find out soon enough. Let me see. Oh, I scrolled too far. Let me catch up on these real quick. What else hope for Corey's game? Like I said, ideally Order 1886, but if not, I just hope it's something crazy. Zach, thank you for the 5. Luke, have you played any of the Atomic Heart DLCs? Will you play the second one once it comes out? Yeah, I think I played the first. I haven't played the other ones yet, but they do look cool. So I figure once they're all done, I'll go through them. Or they are all out now. I just have to sit down and go through all of them. But the second game does look baller. Samuel, thank you for the 20 months. I'm shocked that Fair Game $sign hasn't been canceled despite losing their co-founder and the game director. Yeah, once you lose the game director and the co-founder of the studio, I figured that's enough of a red flag to maybe tell people to shake it up, but nope, it's still going. DBZ, thank you for that 5. The problem is Sony treats their big budget games like movies. They should or compromise when developing, or they will overspend. I'm not sure if it's just compromise. I think there is a fundamental lack of efficiency somewhere along the pipeline. Like some piece of it is not working. The fact that Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million to make is insane for what that game ended up being. Like it just doesn't make sense how that could possibly cost $300 million. Like that is insane for what that game ended up being. So something happened along the way where half the money was just ending up in a incinerator. Like, I don't know, but I would be like reviewing how they can increase efficiency. Because you're ending up with games like K-City 2 or games like Elden Ring, which can be pumped out faster and bigger with more critical acclaim for cheaper, for like a third the price. Got to figure that out. That's a problem. 300 million can't be right. Someone's embezzling. I mean, the numbers don't make sense. High salaries. Yeah, probably. It's also a very expensive studio to run with just where it's located. So that's a part of it too. But yeah, there's just, the math doesn't work when it costs $300 million to make that. We agree on that. My point is find a way to lower that cost. The solution is not to burn more money on stuff that probably doesn't work. You know, that's what I'm saying. Let's see. Jan, thank you for the 5. Luke, so you're telling me now is the time to buy Ubisoft stocks? Love your content. You are my only 3 gaming YouTube channels with Angry Joe and Ackman. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. And I will say there's a good number of analysts who have been trying to scoop up Ubisoft shares because they think that they'll either be bought out, in which case they make easy money, or they'll turn it around and actually see a stock price resurgence. But to be fair, they said that when the stock was $10 a share and now it's like $4. So, you know, it's just you're gambling pretty hard either which way. Yeah, I wouldn't buy it. I don't buy gaming stocks for obvious reasons. It's a conflict of interest. But yeah, if I were buying gaming stocks, I still wouldn't touch Ubisoft, frankly. Cinebread, thank you for the 5. That's generous. Thank you. Yeah, real serious. What do you mean my Abstergo coin is now worth less than toilet paper? Yeah, and Caleb, thank you again for the 10 about the Assassin's Creed scams. That's funny. Silver Lightning, thank you for the 2. Have you checked out Windrow's demo is promising? I have not, but I'll pull it up in another tab to check out after the stream. Thank you. Nico, thank you for the 5. God of War, Gatherers Hunting. Please don't make that happen. Jordy, thank you for the 5. With Atreus powers, I can see him being the main focus in a fantasy setting. Yeah, that's what I would think, but they say that he's not the main focus, so I don't know. You just gave Corey the inspiration to kill Kratos. We'll see. Xander, again, sorry for mispronouncing your name. Thank you for the membership. Narrative Gamer, thank you for the 12. I don't know if I'm getting over it, but a few years ago, Neil Druckmann had posted an artwork of a natural landscape with a protagonist holding a sword. Maybe it was related to the Barlog project. Maybe. I don't know how he would have gotten it, though. And if it was actual concept art, I don't know. Maybe it was just a mood board for Intergalactic, because they're gonna have plenty of sweeping vista shots, I'm sure. But I don't know why he would have access to that. You know? I don't know. New little snippet of Crimson Desert water physics. Hold on. Somebody's recording their monitor with a potato. Okay. I think they're going to shoot an ice arrow into the water. I think that's what's happening. And it creates an ice platform. See, this is what I think most people expected to get in like this gen. They expected this level of dynamics, but with this fidelity as well. They expected like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild levels of interactivity, but with modern graphics and fidelity. And Crimson Desert's like the first game doing it, which is crazy, but there you go. I wonder where this footage is from. I wonder where they got it. Khalil, it's like a Spanish YouTuber or a Portuguese, a Brazilian YouTuber. I'm not sure. Interesting. Because there's no event where they're going to let you film the screen to distribute it. So I don't know where he would have gotten that footage. That's interesting. Maybe maybe I'll ask Will where he got that footage. I don't know. Because that's interesting. I wonder if it's just a leak. I'll message Will right now. Be like, do you know where this footage came from? Just a question. Do you know where this footage came from? Is it a crappy recapture of official footage? Or is it a leak? I haven't seen it anywhere before. Would love to get a full quality version if possible. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. I'll see what he says. Okay. Let me go back over here. I changed the tab accidentally. Okay. And then over on Twitch, Grot Waffle, thank you for that sub, by the way. Dre the 9, thank you also for the sub. Luke, are you going to be trying or continuing Where Winds Meet? It's getting a major update the same time span as Crimson Desert. Yeah, I pop back into it pretty regularly. It's a vibe, dude. It's a vibe. Yeah, it's very impressive. Very impressive game. Oh, okay. And in case I get in case anybody over on Twitch was wondering why the chat is set up the way that it is, Twitch, apparently I'm not the only one. Twitch sent out like warnings to streamers who were co-streaming and made it very, very clear they do not want Twitch chat listed alongside YouTuber or YouTube chat. They don't want to integrate it in between. They don't want, they just don't want it. I think it's just control, and it's their attempt to make like co-streaming inconvenient. I don't know. So that's why it's separated out. I'm sorry. But yeah, apparently I'm not the only one that had this happen in the last few days. So they send like an actual scary email. They're like, we've officially put a warning on your account for having Twitch chat visible integrated with YouTube chat. I was like, what the okay. Like, are we really doing this? Okay. I have to double check if their rules allow for me to put Twitch chat like on the top and YouTube chat on the bottom. Maybe they'll let me do that. But their email made it sound like they just didn't want Twitch chat at all on screen if another chat is visible as well, which is stupid. But anyway, yeah, Twitch be twitching. Yeah, for real. Yeah. Apparently you can shoplift on stream on their platform and get a slap on the wrist, but God forbid you integrate chats. Yeah, then they'll they'll crash out. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, we candle. You're damn right. Yes, we candle. Yes, we candle. Represent. Okay, guys, I'm gonna call it there. I gotta go pick up my boy from preschool, so I've got to head out anyways. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I proceed to crash out over Hermen Hulst. But I am glad that we checked out. Wait, what? Wait. Ashton just tagged me in this. What? Is this real? New segment, breaking news. Don't go anywhere. Oh my God. Do you guys see this? Ashton just tagged me. Shout out Ashton. 6 seconds ago. Xbox head Phil Spencer is set to retire on Monday. What? Phil Spencer retiring. Sarah Bond is out. Matt Booty promoted as Microsoft AI executive. Asha Sharma named new Xbox boss. Microsoft gaming CEO Phil Spencer, who has been at Microsoft since he joined as an intern in 1988 and with Xbox since the software giant launched its first console in 2001, is retiring. Sources familiar with the matter who are not authorized to speak publicly confirmed to IGN. Spencer's retirement is effective Monday, February 23rd. That doesn't sound like much of a retirement. Typically, retirements are planned and are not so last minute. Okay. Retirement. Meanwhile, Xbox President Sarah Bond, long thought by many, both inside and outside of Microsoft, to be Spencer's heir apparent, has resigned. Doesn't sound like a retirement. It sounds like you're going to be fired. You can retire if you want. But Tuesday we're firing you, so you have to retire by Monday. She resigned. That sounds like a resignation of protest to me. That's what that sounds like to me. Yeah, retirement, literally. Yeah. Okay. The new CEO of Microsoft Gaming will be Asha Sharma, currently the president of Microsoft's Core AI product. I don't know who this is, but hearing that they're the head of the Core AI product, that makes me think this is probably one of the worst possible selections they could have possibly made. In this role, she oversees the teams and technologies that power AI across Microsoft and its enterprise customers. So they're just doubling and tripling down on AI. Finally, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty is being promoted to Chief Content Officer and will work closely with Sharma. Quote, I want to thank Phil for his extraordinary leadership and partnership, Satya Nadella said in an email sent to Microsoft staff. Over 38 years at Microsoft, including 12 years leading gaming, Phil helped transform what we do and how we do it. Full emails from Satya Nadella, Spencer, Sharma, and Booty are below. Today marks an exciting new chapter for Microsoft. This is from Spencer. Last fall, I shared with Satya that I was thinking about stepping back and starting the next chapter of my life. From that moment, we aligned on approaching this transition with intention, ensuring stability and strengthening the foundation we've built. Xbox has always been more than a business. It's a vibrant community of players, creators, and teams who deeply care about what we build and how we build it, and it deserves a thoughtful, deliberate plan for the road ahead. Today marks an exciting new chapter for Microsoft Gaming as Asha Sharma steps into the role of CEO, and I want to be the first to welcome her to this incredible team. Working with her over the past several months has given me tremendous confidence. She brings genuine curiosity, clarity, and a deep commitment to understanding players, creators, and decisions that shape our future. We know this is an important moment for our fans, partners, and team, and we're committed to getting it right. I'll remain in an advisory role through the summer to support a smooth handoff. Sharma is a former VP of product engineering at Meta. So the metaverse. Great. A former Instacart COO. Makes sense. You know how to DoorDash groceries, so you can lead a gaming company. That makes sense to me. Okay, checks out. And a board member of Home Depot. I have a feeling a lot of duct tape is going to be needed in the next few months to keep things together. So maybe that will be helpful. Get a discount. My first job is simple. Okay. She sent this email to staff. She wrote, first job is simple. Understand what makes this work and protect it. You'd think you'd promote somebody that actually knows already, but okay, whatever. That starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. Everything begins here. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable characters, stories that make us feel, innovative gameplay, and creative excellence. And we will empower our studios, invest in iconic franchises, and back bold new ideas. We will take risks. We will enter new categories and markets where we can add real value, grounded in what players care about most. I promoted Matt Booty in honor of this commitment. He understands the craft and the challenges of of building great games, has led teams that deliver award-winning work, and has earned the trust of game developers across the industry. Second, the return of Xbox. We will recommit to our core Xbox fans and players, those who have invested with us for the past 25 years. Okay, this sounds interesting. Okay. And to the developers who build the expansive universes and experiences that are embraced by players around the world. We will celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with console, which has shaped who we are. It connects us to the players and fans who invest in Xbox, and to the developers who build ambitious experiences for it. So this sounds to me like a pivot away from everything is an Xbox, because the two people that were pushing that were Phil and Sarah. But she's saying that her commitment is to Xbox, starting with console. So it sounds like she's pivoting back to console and less to your microwaves and Xbox. Okay. She continues, quote, gaming now lives across devices, not within, never mind. Never mind. Gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any singular piece of hardware. As we expand across PC, mobile, cloud, Xbox should feel seamless, instant, and worthy of the communities we serve. We will break down barriers so developers can build once and reach players everywhere without compromise. Third, future of play. We are witnessing the reinvention of play to meet the moment. We will invent new business models and new ways to play by by leaning into what we already have. Iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love. We will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. This to me sounds like they want their own Roblox. Which ironically is literally this, but okay, we'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. Booty then said in his email to staff, looking forward, I'm excited to partner with Asha as our next CEO. Our first conversation centered on her commitment to making great games and the role that plays in our overall success. She asks questions, pushes for clarity, and wants our choices grounded in player and developer needs. That mindset matters as the industry around us is changing quickly, how players engage, how games are made, and how business models and platforms evolve. We have good reason to believe in what's ahead. This organization and its franchises have navigated change for decades. Our strength comes from teams who know how to adapt and keep delivering. That confidence is grounded in a strong pipeline of established franchises, new bets we believe in, and clear player demand for what we are building. Bond joined Xbox in 2017 following a stint as an executive at T-Mobile. This after both her parents worked in the telecom industry. As Xbox's corporate VP of Biz Dev and Partnerships, she became corporate VP of Game Creator Experience and Ecosystem after that being named president of Xbox in 2022. But now, of course, she's resigned. They describe all of his time with it. Okay, this is absolutely crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I can't believe this. It was assumed for years, obviously, that Sarah Bond was being primed to take over. Something happened that changed that. And I think that's why Sarah resigned and quit. Something changed. It's wild. And I think, again, the selection of Asha is so interesting to me. That is somebody, President Core AI product at Microsoft, board member at the Home Depot. The Core AI product. Core AI platform and tools. Big thing they started pushing in January of 2025. AI first app stack with new UI, UX patterns, runtimes, build with agents, orchestrate multiple agents. It's literally she's been in charge of this thing, the platform for AI tools, to try and increase efficiency. And now she's in charge of all of this. The future rests on her shoulders. initial reactions, this sounds terrible. This sounds, carry the 3, bad. I don't know. Prove me wrong, right? Like, if she's truthful and that they're not going to pump out mindless AI slop, cool. But I don't think it takes a genius to put 2 and 2 together that they got rid of Phil Spencer. Sarah Bond resigned, seemingly in protest. And she's being put in this position. And her background is in building AI tools to try and replace people. So it seems to me like her whole directive is increase efficiency by making AI tools ubiquitous throughout the organization. And they're saying stuff. They mentioned like 3 or 4 times. She asks a lot of questions and seeks clarity. And she's seeking to understand gaming and understand what makes this work. So she's literally not a gamer. Now, to be fair, there are examples of non-gamers leading good game companies. Okay. For example, probably the best example of this is Strauss Zelnick. He has, amazingly enough, offered like amazingly refreshing takes on AI, for example. He's kind of the other end of this extreme, where he openly says, I'm not a gamer. I don't play video games, but I know how to run a business. And he's always described it. I empower the teams to make the best games they can, retain the talent, and then I get out of their way. And that's what's allowed them to make Rockstar and like pump out GTA 6 and stuff. He even created a company that is able to build and support games like Mafia: The Old Country, smaller scale AA games that are tighter in scope, narrative focused, not filled with microtransactions, and are really good. And that was profitable, apparently. Like it was profitable, surpassed their expectations, and they got greenlit for another one, reportedly, allegedly. So non-gaming people can run gaming companies well. That's true. But I think the reason why this is remarkable, this guy, is because that's uncommon. Typically, you know what happens when you get a non-gamer in charge of gaming? This dude. This guy. He was like, you know, a business corpo through and through, climbing the ranks of like software companies like Microsoft and EA, just doing like broader corporate managerial stuff. And then when he got in charge of Microsoft with the Xbox One generation at the Kickstarter of that, he drove it into the ground with the Kinect and with all that stuff. Shocker. So it's not necessarily like a foregone conclusion that it's going to be a disaster, but it's definitely, I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. Oh, hey, Mr. Romeo. Hey, oh, you can't get up here, Mr. Dude. Mr. Dude. He's like, ooh, garbage. Ooh, garbage. I love garbage. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. It's cold outside. Yeah. How are you, my queen? My flame, my muse. Rocking and rolling. We just got breaking news that
breaking news.
Yeah, the head of Xbox since like 2014 is retiring on Monday, I think it is. And they're replacing him with like an AI whatever lady, and
He's getting replaced by a robot?
She kind of seems like it. Yeah, this does seem like one of those AI generated images of corporate executive, but we'll see. We'll give her a chance, but I'm not confident, man. I'm not confident. So yeah, the future, guys. Isn't it wonderful?
What a painful thing to go through.
Yeah.
You're irrelevant. Replacing you with a robot.
Yeah, well, that's literally her mandate, I think. Hi. Oh.
Well, we've decided a robot would be more personable than you. So here's
Oh,
the robot.
Romeo, no chewing on cables. I just want to eat stuff. I want to eat
I
garbage.
sent you a picture. He just watched me make chili.
Oh,
I
really?
moved his bed into the kitchen and he just laid there
Oh, that's nice.
and watched me make
Oh.
chili.
You know who could run Microsoft better than like an AI person? This
Look
guy.
at how personable he is. He's
yeah.
so nice.
And look at his ears. Good for listening. Good for listening. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Anyway, I'll call it there, guys. I'm going to crash out and have a heart attack if I keep going. My blood pressure's too high. Much love. I don't know what to say. Caleb, thank you for the 20. So Xbox is shitting the bed with Microsoft because they're obsessed with crappy AI. Sony is shitting the bed because they keep pushing crappy live service over good games. Nintendo is releasing boring games at higher prices. Yeah, I think the future lies with like the War Horses, the Expedition 33 type games, the independent developers that will grow and blow up to become the new big guys. I think the big guys are crapping the beds and the little guys are going to take over. See you in a little bit, buddy. He's a good boy. Yeah, it's crazy. Kyle, thank you for the 2. Holy, it's so over. Dude, I cannot believe that. Literally, I'm about to shut the stream off and then it's like 6 seconds ago. You got tagged in this. Oh my God. NFT Beats. MFT and Beats, I think is what it is, not NFT Beats. MFT and Beats. Thank you for that super chat. Phil Spencer's being retired with a gun to the small of his back. Let's keep it real. It feels like that. He said late last year, I talked to Satya about wanting to retire and what my next phase of life is going to be and all that. I'm guessing he was like, bro, this is getting run into the ground because of these ridiculous targets we have. I'm sick and tired of this. I just want to retire and move on. And that ushered all of this in. Or it could have been like one time I had a job and it was pretty clear that they were losing money and about to go belly up and they were going to fire everybody. So I started looking for another job. And so I lined up my next job and then quit that previous job to get out of it before, you know, the inevitable happened. And turns out I was right. They went belly up. It was like a whole thing. But that might have been going down here where like Phil was getting the vibe that they were about to replace him. And he was like, okay, I'm just going to talk to Satya and tell him I plan to step down and do it that way. That's absolutely crazy. Sandro, thank you for that membership, by the way. And Neneto says that footage is from a Chinese event. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Real Serious says, we won't milk the IP as AI voice Master Chief is announced as a DLC costume in Fable 2. It's a free-to-play microtransaction Fable, and you can't buy the original game anymore. Literally, I wouldn't be surprised if that's where this is going. And then Brian, thank you for the 5. Is this good for the player moment, Xbox edition? I struggle to see where there should be excitement at all, like for this. I don't understand how anybody could hear this and be like, cool. By their head of it's a little dramatic. Is that a little dramatic? It's over. They're cooked. I think that's how the kids say it. So insane. More dramatic? Oh, did I misspell it? He's being replaced. Now, if I were an AI, I wouldn't have made that mistake. Bro, he's being replaced by their head of core AI product. They're cooked. There you go. There you go. Absolutely crazy, dude. You cannot make this up. This industry is wild. Anyway, now I'm starting to think, no, we can't. That's what I'm starting to think. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, he's being optimized. Seems like it. Much love, everybody. I'll be back. Oh my God. I'll be back on Monday, and maybe we'll have more to talk about with the aftermath of all of this. I can't believe this. Yeah, this is everybody's reaction to this. What? Yeah, it's just never mind. No, we can't. Okay, much love, everybody. I'll see you on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. You're probably having a better one than Sarah Bond. Just remember that. Much love. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Mwah.